Flash here in Clemson. Short kick, and the fine receiver Artavis Scott from the 5 has a crease and breaks out across the 35. So Deshaun Watson, the preseason ACC Player of the Year, goes to work right now.
It's important for both these quarterbacks to settle in, and that's the play callers on both sides know that. With the weather like this, the emotion, Deshaun Watson typically stays very calm. That's his, the trademark on him, even though he's very young, is only a sophomore. But I look for them also to take some chances on this first possession if they get the opportunities. We talked in the open, Chris, Notre Dame's been giving up some big plays, and Clemson wants to try to take advantage of that despite the weather.
Look at this, Kirk. First play, empty backfield and 5 receivers for Watson. And he takes off up the middle. Watson breaking free across midfield, flashing the speed down the sidelines and driven out. Good call, Coach Herbstreit.
Yeah, we talked about him in the open about running the football. It could be a tough night to run the ball, but look at the numbers. There's no linebackers. By having the 5 receivers out wide, it left nobody in the middle. The middle linebacker, Joe Schmidt, brought a blitz from the right, but they got to the left and ended up showing what he can do. His knee is healthy. They told us they were going to turn him loose, and on the very first play, a huge gain for Deshaun Watson.
38 yards. Now it's Gallman, the hard-running, steady tailback who muscles down to the 20-yard line. Gallman is a sophomore from Georgia who just doesn't quit on runs.
No, and I tell you, the footing and the traction in the trenches. We've watched games, you and I, all afternoon, and one of the things that came up was watching the linemen. You think about the receivers and the quarterback and the ball, but it's really the linemen and being able to get leverage and pushing a 300-pound body and trying to get it to go where you want it to go. The advantage you would think would be Notre Dame.
Watson's got it. And he just throws it away. It's an offensive line that has no starters back from last year. Ryan Norton, their center, was the only returning starter, but he has an MCL sprain. So there's a couple of veterans up there, a couple of young guys, but no second-year starters.
No, and I think because of that, they rely on tempo to be an equalizer. This is a similar offense that you see when you watch Auburn, or it's a similar offense that you see when you watch Ole Miss. They rely on the tempo and some of the trickery to be able to be kind of offset the athleticism and the speed and size of a defense. The guy to watch is Sheldon Day on the defensive line, number 91.
Scott's in the backfield on 3rd and 5 when they flip it to him in the flat that he had to spin around, makes a man miss, gets a first down, and dives to the 12-yard line.
It's kind of an example right there of what they asked from their offensive linemen on a screen pass out there. They're just trying to get in the way. There wasn't anybody who came up with a big block, but they shielded the Notre Dame defense from him, and athletic video Scott gets the first.
And now Gallman takes the handoff on first down, gets the edge, and dives down near the 4-yard line. Clemson executing well on this first possession in the rain.
No doubt about it, and some good blocks up to the top. Area that they feel they have got to dominate. Forget about in the trenches, out on the perimeter. Time peak, the receiver and Leggett, the tight end, were flexed out to the top of your screen and both picked up nice blocks.
They need 2 on 2nd down. Watson had trouble collecting this snap. It was an awkward handoff to Gallman, who loses a yard as number 91, Sheldon Day, the All-American.
Yeah, and he's going to be in the backfield the entire game, and Clemson realizes that. Very fortunate to somehow secure this football and then get it into the hands of Gallman. Boy, that was a great job there by Watson to be able to get his hands on the football, slippery football, and get into the hands as Sheldon Day got penetration.
They're 3rd down after the loss. They need 4. Watson rolls out, flips it in the flat. Catch made. Jordan Leggett dives for a touchdown.
That's the way you get a crowd into this football game. Nice job of, then we talked about recognizing things, awareness. He saw the blitz. They got a one-on-one opportunity. The linebacker could not get out in time to be able to make the play. The safety, I beg your pardon, Shoemate, could not get out in time. He was kind of rubbed or screened. He couldn't get out in man-to-man coverage, and Leggett is all alone.
So a 64-yard drive as Greg Hugel, the freshman kicker, makes it 7-0. An Irish defense that had been very fast starting, Kirk. They had 4 straight 3-and-outs. Give up a touchdown here.
Watch the blitz coming from here. Here's the man who's going to get caught up in traffic, Elijah Shoemate. Watch him try to slide. Gets over there. One of the receivers got in his way, slowed him down just enough to free up Leggett into the flat, and Watson found him for the touchdown.
Guys, I got the jerseys.
Tigers convert a couple third downs on their first possession. Watson to Leggett for a short touchdown pass. Now Deshaun Kaiser, the young Notre Dame quarterback, will get his first possession already down a touch. Eamon Lakeup, the kicker from last year, comes off suspension. His first action, he'll boot it away. Amir Carlisle, Irish dangerous receiver, takes it at the 5. Tries to find some space and kind of tiptoes out to the 25-yard line. So Deshaun Kaiser, a sophomore, a talented 3-sport athlete at Toledo Central Catholic.
Yeah, 6'4", 230. I think as Brian Kelly watches him every game, he learns more and more about what he can do and what he's maybe not quite comfortable with. But I think Brian Kelly over the years has worked with different types of quarterbacks. Experience, drop back, the way Kaiser is, athletic, and he's adjusted his scheme to who Kaiser is. More of a drop back quarterback, more of a distributor.
He had 1 career pass before that Virginia game. And they'll feed C.J. Procise, who bounces off traffic but cannot get away from Travis Blanks.
Let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players for Notre Dame on offense. We've talked all night here so far about C.J. Procise and what a great start he is off to. He needs to be able to get on track to take some of the pressure off. Will Fuller, the big playmaker on the outside, number 7. B.J. Goodson for Clemson, middle linebacker's got to be a leader, and Mackenzie Alexander, number 2.
Procise again, nowhere to run as the Tigers swarm the middle. It'll be 3rd and long.
They just come right into the interior, right in this area right here. They're coming from the outside as well. They just closed in. They realize that they need to zero in right now on this running game. It's wet. You're on the road. Clemson just went up 7-0. You're trying to ease yourself in, and Brent Venables has turned his defense loose these first 2 plays.
Number 1 defense last year on 3rd down. Kaiser needs 15. Cannot find anybody. Keeps the play alive. Shows elusiveness. They'll be dropped 10 yards short of the marker.
Well, this is what Kaiser's going to get tonight, Chris, from Brent Venables if they get him to 3rd and long. He showed 5 as if he's going to pressure blitz 5, and at the snap of the ball, 2 of those 5 dropped. And next thing you know, he's only rushing 3 athletic guys, but he has 8 guys in coverage. Kaiser had nowhere to go with the football and had to just eat it and try to pick up what he could.
Tyler Newsome, the punter for the Irish, off to a terrific start, averaging 47 yards a kick. This is not a good one, though. Off the side of his foot, and they'll spot this ball back in Notre Dame territory. They're still marching down that sideline to the 40. Wow. So Newsome had been rock solid. 52 yards a punt last week. Shakes one for 15. Clemson back in business, up a touch.
Saturday Night Football, presented by Wells Fargo. Brought to you by United Airlines, the world's most flyer-friendly airline. United, fly the friendly skies. Wells Fargo, on your phone, online, on the go. Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done. And Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
And we welcome a regular guest, the National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper, awarded on January 11th in Glendale. Of course, the semifinals New Year's Eve in Dallas and in Miami. The Irish defense had only allowed 6 points in the first quarter this season, a touchdown by UMass on the final play of the quarter. They're used to getting off the field quickly. Now they're under some pressure here, Kirk. Clemson takes over after the shank at the 40.
Well, Clemson deserves a lot of credit for the way they started the game with that opening drive, but Notre Dame has got to settle in. They need somebody to make a big play here to kind of get the momentum swaying the other way.
You know, Gallman is stopped immediately as Jalon Smith, the freaky all-world linebacker, jumped in the hole.
We're talking about somebody's got to make a play. You would think Jalon Smith, number 9, Sheldon Day, 91, and then you have Joe Schmidt, the leader, kind of the glue of the defense, 38. Those are their playmakers up front.
Smith forced a couple of fumbles against Georgia Tech that loomed very big in that Irish home field win. On 2nd and 10, play action. Watson fires downfield. Catch made. Hunter Renfrow, the sure-handed possession receiver, beat Kavari Russell.
Boy, the thing that stood out to me in these conditions is he gets outside. They're blitzing him, but how about the hands of Renfrow in these conditions? High points the ball and makes the catch in front of Russell.
24 yards puts the Tigers right back in the red zone, and Watson, initial traffic inside, tries to bounce it and does dive forward for positive yardage. Jalon Smith grabbed him.
When you see him do that, again, we talked about his awareness and understanding of the offense. They'll give him, like almost any offense in college football today, they give him alerts. They'll give him a run and a pass on the same play. And if you just have 4 down linemen and 1 linebacker in that box area, he's going to more than likely pull it down himself and run the football. That's where the quarterback run game, which hasn't been a big part of Clemson's attack these first 3 games, tonight it will be on display, and it's to give them the numbers advantage.
I thought maybe they might take the tempo down a bit with the wet football. Not so far. Watson, slant, Scott, fights free and walks in. A 1-2 punch from the Tigers. And the Irish on the ropes early. You know, Deshaun Watson is razor sharp distributing the ball, and Clemson quickly up a couple of touchdowns.
I think this is the Deshaun Watson that Clemson fans saw a lot last year of, and he hasn't quite played that way, and especially in their game a couple Thursdays ago against Louisville. But here's just recognition, soft coverage, be able to get after a low snap balls right on the money that gives Scott a chance to protect himself, keep his feet to be able to get into the end zone. But it's the timing and awareness by Watson that was superior.
Tigers have run 11 plays and have 14 points.
This is iPhone 6s. Not much.
So Clemson scoring in its first 2 possessions, sandwiched around a 3 and out for the Irish. And it's 14-0 quickly here. Like up to C.J. Sanders at the 3. He's free. Sanders finally wrestled out at midfield, so good field position for the Irish. But Brian Kelly and his young quarterback down 2 touchdowns. What now?
Well, at first he's thankful that he got a huge return here by Sanders, who took one to the house last week against UMass and has tremendous speed for a true freshman and has a great feel to how to make plays in the open space. Looked like potentially face mask, but a good no call. And you're right. Now you've got to settle down. And I think the big thing is, in this situation, you usually like to turn to your guy. Who's my go-to guy? Your go-to guy is C.J. Prosise and Will Fuller. You've got to be able to get them going here, get a first down, and kind of just stop the bleeding and just be able to settle into your game plan.
First down attempt for Kaiser, delivers near side. The catch is made by Amir Carlisle. He's wrestled out of bounds. To Cassidy Hubbard for an update in the studio.
The Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. Number 3 Ole Miss in serious trouble. Will Greer with his 4th TD pass of the half. This one to Antonio Callaway. You know, Florida's been dealing with the flu all week, but it's Ole Miss fans probably feeling sick right now. Rebels down 25-0 on ESPN.
Wow. Swamp is alive, and so is Death Valley. Prosise, just no running room so far. Shaq Lawson, junior next great defensive lineman at Clemson on the tackle.
And a guy to keep an eye on tonight. He'll be matched up a lot with the All-American Ronnie Stanley, the left tackle from Notre Dame. But again, early in this game, that Clemson defensive line, all new starters this year, getting after that Notre Dame offensive line.
Irish need 6 on third. Kaiser, well protected, delivers a strike, and Chris Brown makes a first down catch inside the 40. Brown, the senior from here in South Carolina.
Two things that stood out to me. Number one, the offensive line picks up pretty exotic look. There's some pressure, but they pick it up. They give him time. And the other thing is he felt that pressure, but he didn't allow it to affect his vision. He settled in, showed some composure, and distribute that football for a first down.
And Lawson, the defensive end, downfield to make the tackle there. Kaiser wrestled down to the backfield by Mr. Lawson, who can rush the passer. He can create mayhem. He's strong against the run. He's a sort of a do-it-all defensive lineman.
And Kaiser on his zone read here gets confused. He's actually reading Shaq Lawson right here. He kind of gives him a little bit of this and then comes out. If he comes down on the back, then he's going to want to give it or pull it out. But this time he comes down initially and then jumps out at the quarterback, and he confuses Kaiser.
Kaiser, a screen, threw it too high. It was off the hands of Torrey Hunter Jr. He's lucky that was just an incompletion, and it's 3rd and 13.
Very fortunate. There was a lot of traffic in there anyway. Even if he was able to put this ball on the money, there was really nowhere to go. This Tigers defense right now, Chris, is just swarming. They have their ears pinned, and they are coming after the line of scrimmage and coming after this quarterback.
This is a lot to handle in your first road start. Tigers show some pressure. Kaiser rolls away from it and delivers incomplete. As a flag down, it was Alize Jones, the talented freshman tight end from Vegas, the intended receiver, and Johnson, Jadar Johnson, was in coverage.
What Johnson's got to be thinking.
Pass interference, defense, number 18, spot foul, automatic first down.
You know, he just makes a mental mistake here, and he's frustrated, but he definitely got early to the receiver. I mean, he's in there way too early, and that's inexperience. He's got to try to get his body and around the intended target there, Jones, and try to use his hand to swat at it, but he can't run over top of him.
He's the guy that made the pick to seal that 3-point win at Louisville. But the penalty moves the ball inside the 30. Brosice. This is a guy that's averaging 150. Notre Dame's had 5 straight games of 200+ yards rushing, and they're just trying to get out of the red here in the running game.
The problem you have, again, is they're going to make Brent Venables, the defense coordinator from Clemson. It's pretty easy what his plan is. They've put 8 men at the line of scrimmage right now against just 7 blockers. So they have an extra man, and they're basically telling Brian Kelly, your quarterback and your receivers are going to have to beat us, and until they do, we're going to continue to stack the line of scrimmage.
Kaiser on the move, takes his first downfield shot and throws it over the head of Chris Brown.
I think Clemson feels very good about the matchups on the perimeter, and we've got some great matchups. Tankersley, who was tested there, and he's been tested all year against Chris Brown, but the real matchup is Will Fuller, number 7, against Mackenzie Alexander. We're talking about 2 guys that have bright futures, and Alexander is following him at this point all over the field, whether he's on the left or the right, to the field or to the boundary. Now they're at the bottom of the screen on 3rd down.
Yeah, he's a brash shutdown corner. Teams rarely test him. We'll see how that matchup unfolds tonight. Tigers show some pressure up the middle. Irish pick it up, and Kaiser delivers incomplete. Delivered a hard shot that Brown couldn't gather on a wet night. It's going to be tough on his receivers.
It sure is. And I couldn't tell if Ben Boulware, who was rushing, number 10, got a hand on this football right there. No, he did not. Ball's coming in just fast, hot. And it was tough for Carlisle to be able to secure that. It would have been a first down if he came up with it. You know, he was a pitcher. What did he throw, 94, 95 in high school?
Sometimes a change-up's better, right?
Yeah.
Justin Yoon, he's a true freshman kicker from Nashville. He's 4 for 6 on the young season. This from 46 yards. And he shows why he's one of the top kickers in the country. Good Nashville product. Booms it through. Irish on the board, still down 11.
What's next? Next is more.
The Irish come away with a field goal. This is Justin Yoon on a wet track.
Into the wind.
Kicker. Yeah.
Into the wind. Tough conditions. Freshman. Team's down 14 on the road. You need points. Drills it.
This is a ritual that Scott Daly, number 61, the long snapper, and the holder have after every made kick. Yoon, born to parents of Korean descent in Ohio, then moved down to Nashville.
And not only, Chris, is it points, but it kind of just slows things down a little bit for Notre Dame, just to get points on the board.
This is Scott, a yard deep. They fake the handoff, and Scott has a little room. Chased down from behind at the 29-yard line by Nick Coleman. Well, this week on ESPN Monday Night Football, up to the Pacific Northwest, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. It's Matthew Stafford. He's got to be a little bit sore about the way Uga went down hard at home to Alabama today. The Detroit Lions, desperate for their first win. He's got more in his mind than just Georgia's struggles.
Well, I think we have a new rule in the SEC. Alabama's no longer allowed to be an underdog. They seem to take that too personally. They come out swinging.
Well, the streak was 72 in a row, right? So making another 72 before somebody doubts him. This is Watson on the keeper, and he's knocked down on the far side there by Elijah Shoemate, the senior safety.
Well, he's off to just a great start, and you know, we asked him in our meeting about the knee. I mean, he had ACL, and he played through it in the South Carolina game, had surgery December 12th. Kids today, whether it's college or the NFL, you see them come back 8, 9, 10 months. He's right around that 10-month mark, and tonight's the first time he's really turning it loose since then.
Gallman, a short gain. Now, Watson didn't play in the bowl game, the win over Oklahoma. Didn't do a whole lot in spring ball. Was able to throw in the summer, Kirk, but he used all that time to study tape like an animal and improve his knowledge.
He's really a student of the game. It's just a passion of his. It mentioned the high school background of running a very similar as offense. His high school coach came and visited Chad Morris, took it back to high school, and he ran it. Same terminology. So when he came in as a freshman, he really had an understanding of what they were trying to do, but he continues to take it to the next level with film study and understanding of coverage.
It's a third and medium for the Tigers, and that one is just tossed away. Scott not quite on the same page as the quarterback, so Tigers forced to punt for the first time. And the Irish getting a foothold now.
Again, they come up with a field goal, they get a stop. It's a different energy right now in this stadium, and now it becomes a little bit more of a level playing field, and now you try to go out and you get back to your game plan and you go out and try to execute.
Junior punter Andy Teasdall. I wonder if they'll try to keep it away from C.J. Sanders. Already he's had the big return. You mentioned what a dangerous weapon he can be. Sanders, the freshman from California. This time he makes a fair catch as he backpedals and collects it just inside the 20-yard line. 47 yards on the punt. And now the Irish back to work. Mike Sanford is the offensive coordinator, working actually the quarterback coach. He's got the OC title. Brian Kelly's still calling the play.
Yeah, but an up-and-coming assistant coach, and of course he was at Stanford, his passing game coordinator out with David Shaw. He went over to Boise State. The last couple of years he ran the offense at Boise, and Brian Kelly recognized his qualities as a coach and a great recruiter and brought him over here, and he has really helped Kaiser with being thrown into action in his development.
There's a first down attempt. Kaiser over the middle. Catch made. That's Corey Robinson, receiver who just has been dealing with a knee problem, but is finally full go this week.
You love to see the patience, and I love the call by Brian Kelly. Here's the eyes. You don't want to stare down and telegraph the throw, but he shows patience here for him to get into that throwing window to give himself a chance. He had to clear Ben Boulware, the linebacker, and once he did, he shows you this guy can throw the football when he has time to throw it.
Kaiser changing the play here as Death Valley gets louder. It's Hunter in motion. Brosice They are all over number 20 tonight.
This might be one of those nights where you see Brian Kelly, and he's learning. He's talking to Mike Sanford. He's watching everything. He's getting feedback. Might be one of those nights because of the way Clemson is choosing to defend them, where you're going to have to throw on 1st and 10 more to set up. Then you go back to pro size. Right now on 1st and 10, they're facing an 8-9-man front. They're anticipating run. Throw the way they did on the previous play to then set pro size up later.
He's carried it 5 times, negative 5 yards. Now the Tigers showing pressure off the edge. Kaiser has to dodge, does get away, and has plenty of room. Kaiser down to the 40-yard line. Finally, the tackle is made. With DJ Goodson whiffed, though.
High risk, high reward when you're aggressive. Now he can actually run this right here with pro size. See the lineman downfield or throw it out here. He couldn't do either. So what does he do? He runs it himself. That was a play to either hand it to pro size, throw it out, one of these run pass options. He couldn't do either. So the idea is, hey, there's a hole there. Pro size can't take it. I'll take it myself. There's nobody left in the middle.
TJ Green trying to fight off the jukes by the quarterback, was able to make a tackle, or Kaiser might have kept running. Play clock at 5, and now they'll spend a timeout.
Chris, if they end up scoring on this drive, that play that he just made, that is a great example of his composure for a young guy that's never been in this setting. Instead of just giving up on the play or just kind of taking a knee or just digging in for a yard or two, he's trying to pick up big yards there. That was nice.
Now, this is the first visit by the Irish here since 1977. This was a team loaded with NFL talent. The Tigers had the lead late. They're still haunted by the fact that they let this game get away. Vegas Ferguson made a big catch, and then Montana had a couple of very short touchdown runs in the 4th quarter as the Irish came from behind. That was Dan Devine's eventual national championship team that beat the Longhorns in the Cotton Bowl.
Unbelievable to think that Dwight Clark is on the other side.
Yeah.
Dwight Clark's on the Clemson team, and of course everybody
Didn't they
knows.
do something together later? Yeah,
there it is. Yeah, we're 4 or 5 years later, we're best friends. We're going to find you in the back of the end zone on the catch.
Joe got him that day, but of course they hooked up famously. And 1st down again. Clemson showing pressure. Kaiser keeps it. This time they're all over the quarterback, and they stop him for no gain.
There it is, 1st and 10. You're not only facing guys in the box, Chris. Those linebackers, Boulware and Goodson, they're up shooting gaps. I mean, they're making it tough on the offensive line. And even on a zone read, there's just nowhere to go. And a really good job by Lawson. They're collapsing down on the play. There's nowhere to run.
Jack Lawson's a local guy, lost 10 pounds, slimmed down a little bit this year to get even quicker, but he's still very, very strong against the run. You see him at the bottom of the defensive line. They're standing up. Procise stopped again in the backfield. He's got nowhere to run. There's your guy Boulware, joined by the safety Green.
Let's watch. Let's just freeze it here at the top and look at what he's facing. He's going to get a safety come down. You got linebackers coming down. You have defensive ends standing on the end. Try to be an offensive lineman and deal with all that. And they're just attacking downhill, not respecting anything downfield. And Notre Dame's got to be able to capitalize on that kind of approach from Clemson on the early downs.
And Kirk, they haven't yet tried to target Will Fuller, who's being guarded by Mackenzie Alexander. Final minute of the quarter, the Irish need 11 on this 3rd down. You could use it on a busy Saturday night. We'll keep you posted on all developments around the country. We bring you our game here.
I say it every week. If you don't have the app, and I'm not trying to sell anything, I'm just telling you because I use it, it's high def. I mean, you've got to download that app. And if you're on the road, you got to do something. You can stay plugged into your game.
Kelly is usually pretty calm with Kaiser. We've seen him be anything but calm with his quarterbacks in the past, but there's some confusion. Watson looked like he wanted to hand it off. Gallman wasn't ready to take the ball, but they still get 6 yards.
Well, there was confusion, but he didn't give up on the play. He takes a turn to the right. Gallman goes to the left, and he says, I'm not going to get the ball in there. I'm just going to follow him. He ends up picking up 5 yards.
You don't want confusion with a wet football down there inside your 10-yard line.
Backed up to your own goal line.
Nurse on a lead in the final seconds of the 1st quarter. So Clemson scored quickly, led 14-0. The Irish tack on a field goal. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC station. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Wells Fargo. Tigers switch around. Still backed up at the 10-yard line. Wins at their back now. And a handoff work in the middle. And this is why Gallman is loved by the offensive lineman. He just doesn't quit. Heather Cox, as the weather changed in there, give us an update on the wind and the rain.
What I can tell you is the rain has remained steady. It is expected to rain a good 2 to 3 inches throughout this game and get worse in the second half. But, Chris, what has changed is the wind has certainly picked up. It's gusting about 10 to 15 miles an hour, and it's expected to gust up to 25 miles an hour at times. So that could definitely play a role. As to the field, it's in beautiful condition. A multi-million-dollar drainage system installed a few years ago before their last, or excuse me, since their last rain game, and it's holding up great.
Coming around the edge is Scott, and he's got about 9 yards. It's amazing they haven't had a rainy game here since 2009.
It really is. It's one way to test that field out, that multi-million-dollar system that they have to try to keep this field dry, at least give them some traction and chance to be able to make some plays. I'll tell you, Artavius Scott has some live legs tonight for this Clemson offense.
Pistol formation. Watson gives it to Gallman. It's another first down run as he's wrestled down hard there by Max Redfield, but they moved the chains again.
I've been really impressed with how Jeff Scott and Tony Elliott, the co-offensive coordinators, have decided to come into this game running the football, because if you look at the two sides, Notre Dame's defensive line and their two linebackers, Schmidt and Smith, and you look at the offensive line, you see a big advantage for Notre Dame. But here in this first half, boy, they have been able to control and neutralize Sheldon Day, and they're finding some room to run.
Watson looking for room to run. Now he'll backpedal and just lob it out of bounds. Yeah, Chad Morris, who was given a lot of credit justifiably for running this offense, took off for SMU to become the head coach. Scott and Tony Elliott, two former Clemson playmakers, now sharing the play calling duties. Scott told us that Elliott is sort of the overall play caller, does a lot of the run calls, and Scott does the pass plays. It's an interesting arrangement.
It is, and I always get concerned when you hear co-coordinator, because you really want to know who's calling the shots, who's the guy that's trying to take control of this, not to mention fill the shoes of Chad Morris.
Empty backfield, and it was a design run all the way, but big Sheldon Day wouldn't let the quarterback get away. 3rd and long now.
And they're bringing a lot of linebacker pressure. That's one of the things that they came in feeling that they had to do, and it's kind of a staple of Brian Van Gorder, is try to turn Joe Schmidt loose, who this time they bring him up from the top, and also to let Jalen Smith kind of clean it up. One thing I'm seeing is Jalen Smith is starting to spy Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson came into this game not running a lot. This game he has been running, so they put their best athlete, number 9, on him.
Yeah, exactly. If there's one guy who can spy him, it is number 9. Hand it back off inside. Breaking free, Brooks. And that's a nice run. A little used playmaker for the Tigers, but on 3rd and long, they get close to the marker. It's going to be 4th down, though, so we'll see if old Dabo's in a gambling mood up 11.
Well, that's a good job of picking up some positive yards there. Joe Schmidt was picked up by a nice block, and Max Redfield, who's been playing with a broken thumb, he broke his thumb against Texas. He's had a cast for 3 weeks. They've held him out some because he hadn't been able to make a lot of tackles with that cast. He came up and just kind of whiffed on Brooks. They were lucky that ended up being a first down.
They stop him about a yard short, and so Teasdale's in to punt. It's a good one with the wind at his back. Little bounce and roll dead at about the 10-yard line. I thought it was touched at the 10. They're going to spot it at the 5. So poor field position on a rainy night for Kaiser.
Cassidy Hubbard here. Let's take a look at who's getting it done, presented by Wells Fargo. You knew Leonard Fournette was going to get it done versus the worst rushing D in the country, going 75 yards for his second TD of the game. LSU, though, not running away with this exactly. 27-14 over on ESPNU.
Cassidy, thanks. Well, Fournette, one of the few backs country who got off to a better start than C.J. Process for Notre Dame, but he has gained -5 on 6 carries. He has 1 of his 6 carries actually gained yardage. He's got it again, and that's the run of the night so far for Notre Dame.
And the reason is, we've talked about 1st and 10. What Clemson's defense has done tonight is they're crowding the line of scrimmage, and they're shooting gaps with linebackers and safeties, and they're winning that battle. They're willing to take chances against a young quarterback because they assume that Procise is going to get the ball on early downs. They're leaving their defensive backs isolated one-on-one. I think the guy we have not called it yet, and I'm sure Notre Dame fans at home are saying, where is Will Fuller? Whether it's a quick screen or something. Number 7's got to get his hands on the ball.
Kaiser nowhere to go on 2nd and 5. Travis Blanks came around the edge. Yeah, Fuller with 22 catches coming in. There's an injury for that Clemson defense. It's Austin Bryant, the true freshman backup defensive end, being helped to the trainer's table.
We can talk all we want about what's wrong with Notre Dame's offensive line. Why aren't they giving Procise room? But again, it's the scheme, and right now it's the way they've crowded it and taken advantage of that athletic ability.
Venables bring some heat right now?
No, I don't think he will.
Yeah, you're right. They only rush 4. Kaiser has some time and completes it on the far side there. Torrey Hunter Jr. spins across the 30. So that time, with plenty of time, Kaiser makes a good throw.
Well, he motions him over, and he has soft coverage on 3rd down. That's one of the few times we've seen soft coverage, and it's a mismatch with Boulware trying to stay with Hunter. He locks in, he finds him, and again, when he has time to throw and he sets his feet, he's going to put the ball on the money. Let's see if they go play action here. Give Fuller a chance.
Number 16 got 16 yards. Instead, they handed to Procise. This time does get around the edge. A hard knock by Boulware on the running back.
Big hits, a lot of...
You like number 10, don't you?
I do.
Inked up, jacked up linebacker.
Well, again, think about what they lost last year, and look how he fills. I mean, he's coming around. He's got tremendous speed. He just throws his left shoulder right in to the headgear there of the shoulder of C.J. Procise. And it's okay that he hit some of that shoulder pad.
He gave a lot of Sooners some hard hits in that bowl game. He really emerged stepping in there. It's a defense missing Stephon Anthony at linebacker and Vic Beasley and Grady Jarrett up front.
They lost 7 of their top 10 defensive linemen. This is a completely new defense with the exception of just a handful of guys.
Got to hurry. Did Kaiser not spot the play clock? Here comes a flag. There's Kelly.
Play a game.
Didn't get the timeout.
5-yard penalty.
It's going to happen, Kirk. Young quarterback.
Oh, sure. And again, Brian Kelly understood coming in that that's part of it. That's why he's trying to do the best he can of getting the play in as fast as he can to give him some time to work with, because he has options once he gets the call. He has to look at the defense. He has to make calls. So he needs time to be able to make those decisions.
Once again, the Irish behind the chains here. 2nd and 12. And another
mistake, right tackle.
False start. Offense. Number 68. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's Mike McGlinchey, the junior tackle from Philadelphia.
Watch the center's head. He puts it down and back up. And these tackles have not dealt with this kind of crowd. Stanley on the left is a veteran. He's been in this kind of atmosphere. McGlinchey has never been in this kind of atmosphere. He's out in the end there. They're working with silent counts, and it's more of a rhythmic thing. Not to mention he's worried about that defensive end lined up across from him.
Got to hurry again, Kirk. 2 in the play clock. Does he see it? And there's another flag. A 3rd straight penalty for this Irish offense going backwards. Gotta go, says Brian.
Well, Brian Kelly can call a timeout from the sideline. You know, at some point you have a delay of game, and then you have a lineman move, and then you have another delay of game. You might want to just jump in and call a timeout to help him out. He's kind of saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
We're going. He's going backwards. 2nd and 22. Some confusion on the Clemson defense. They're not really set at the snap. It's a screen in the middle here. Procise runs into heavy traffic again. Carlos Watkins stopped him. It'll be 3rd and very long.
You deal with 3 straight penalties like that. They're getting backed up. They're going in the wrong direction, and you're Clemson. And you got a young quarterback. You're thinking draw or a screen or something simple, and that didn't fool anybody. They were ready for it. Let's see him saying, let's go. Run it, run it, run it.
On 3rd and 17, a rush for. Kaiser has protection, delivers a throw off the hands of Fuller. So the top receiver went up but could not collect the wet ball at midfield. First time they've even looked his way.
Well, they clear out the middle linebacker, and it opens up perfectly. He needed a lot of time for that play to open up, but Boulware, the middle linebacker, is cleared out. Huge opening in the middle of that defense, and their best receiver, Fuller, just cannot hold on to that football.
He's the guy that made that touchdown catch with 12 seconds to go. That heave from Kaiser when they were in the wrong protection. He just threw it up anyway. But that was a costly drop. Now a fumble on the punt. Scott was backpedaling. It bounced off his chest. And it looks like the Tigers retained possession there. So they dodged trouble. That's Brooks on the recovery there. That could have been a momentum-changing play, but Clemson keeps it.
Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo. Brought to you by Michelin, a better way forward. And Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
14-3 Clemson, our Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week. Ever go camping in the rain?
No.
A lot of it, you never have?
No, never.
I never have across from a stadium. Can you see anything from
I don't know.
there?
Hopefully you have the app. If you have the app, you're good.
It's been a lot to see for Clemson fans so far. And go back to work here and a first down throw. Watson again high. It's just tough on receivers. That's a nice soft throw. Really should have been caught there by Deion Kane, who's a very hyped true freshman receiver.
Yeah, and you're not going to find a quarterback that throws a more catchable ball than Deshaun Watson. He puts that ball right there, and Kane's a true freshman. By the way, Kane, they feel with Mike Williams out for the year, they feel that Deion Kane at 6'2", 200 pounds, as a true freshman, needs to emerge to become one of their vertical threats downfield. Number 8.
He's out of Tampa. Watson shows a little juke and a spin, picks up about 3. It'll be 3rd down.
He came into this football game, as we talked about, just not turning it loose with his legs, not needing to in their first couple games, and doing it a little bit the Thursday night that they played Louisville. But tonight it's been a very different look, and we kind of anticipated it. He already has 6 carries on the night.
Yeah, for 50 yards.
Yeah.
Irish show pressure up the middle. Schmidt chases down the quarterback, who flips a screen in heavy traffic. Gallman was there, but so were a bunch of Irish defenders as Day was involved quickly.
Well, Gallman is going to try to work here to get out, but here comes the blitz, and nobody picks him up. They just shoot him right through the A-gap. He's trying to get the ball out there, and obviously when you blitz the linebacker, that's who would have Gallman man-to-man.
That's the ultimate Herbie, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Joe.
But if he would have dumped that out there, if he had just enough time, if Gallman would have been able to get out there clean, there's nobody left. They risky defense. They brought the pressure, and it works out.
Joe Schmidt told us he loves to play in the rain. Never got a chance to in Orange County in California. This is his kind of night. And he forces the incompletion and the punt. And the Irish, again, will just let it roll dead back inside the 15. So midway second quarter, Clemson still protecting that 11-point lead. 52 yards in the punt.
A pitcher who can...
Hubbard here, a top 25 battle on the SEC network. Number 21, Mississippi State. Number 14, Texas A&M. Trey Carson puts the Aggies up 24-10 at the half on the SEC network. Chris, Herbie, back to you.
Aggies off to a good start. Kyle Allen, part of that same Elite 11 quarterback class as both of these quarterbacks here tonight. Kaiser, good protection, and delivers again high and off the hands of the receiver there. That was Chris Brown. A number of drops for Notre Dame tonight. Heather? Oh, excuse me. Let's go to Chris.
The big fella.
Yeah.
The big fella. What does he have for us here?
And now it's time for tonight's Aflac trivia question. Notre Dame has had 7 Heisman Trophy winners in their history. Clemson, none. Which 2 Clemson players have the highest Heisman Trophy finish? 2 guys have finished 6th.
There's a completion to Torrey Hunter Jr. We'll ponder that as the Irish Jew move the chains here and get out of danger.
3 receivers working from the left to the right. He picks the right one in the middle that was able to get a little bit of separation and put the ball right where it needed to be.
See if they can get Process going. Nope. Flags come flying as Kevin Dodd, the other bookend opposite Lawson, invades the backfield. This is the defense that was #1 of the country tackles for loss last year.
Offense number 56. That penalty's declined.
Boy, Kirk, that group was manhandling Texas and Georgia Tech. It's a totally different story for the O-line tonight.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not only is it a different story as far as being on the road, you don't have Malik Zaire, who's a dual-threat guy. You got a young quarterback on the road, and right now this defense is assuming run on 1st and 10. It makes it tough on them up front.
Now they lose 7 on 1st down, and now Kaiser delivers a strike, and a catch is made. Finally, they involve Will Fuller for the first time, added to 40, so it makes it 3rd and manageable.
By far the cleanest uniform on the field until that play right there. He finally gets involved. He missed one on the last series. How about Kaiser hanging in the pocket just long enough to get that football out? He was a little bit late on the throw, and he finally finds Fuller to give him a chance here, at least on 3rd down.
Only the second pass completed this season against the corner, Mackenzie Alexander. Flags again. Clemson was crowding the line.
Ball start. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That is McGlinchey his 2nd time. They are really struggling up front.
You got to remember, if you're at home watching this, you've been working all week on a silent count, and all of a sudden you can't hear. You're worried about this guy going around you, and all of a sudden he does this, and you start to flinch, and you get called for it. It's because of the atmosphere. Give the crowd an assist there.
Big difference between 3rd and 3, 3rd and 8. Kaiser gets away. Here's another flag. They're going to get a hold in the backfield. Can the quarterback escape? He does get 1st down yardage, but this is going to come back. As Clemson's guys are whipping them up front, and the Irish getting rattled and confused.
That was a great matchup because it was Ronnie Stanley against Shaq Lawson, and Shaq Lawson won the battle.
Offense number 56. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Boy, Lawson's been a beast tonight. He's got 3.5 tackles for loss already.
Chris, watch Shaq Lawson at the top on this spin move. Spin move right there. 2 offensive linemen. They both had to hold him.
Great tackle.
Great form. Look at that. Stanley, you're talking about Ronnie Stanley's maybe the best left tackle in college football. Shaq Lawson with a spin move goes right by him.
He drew the flag, but he was hot. Shaq wanted the sack. 3rd down and long again, and Procise cannot escape. Wrestled down again by the 6'5" safety, Jayon Curse. So it's 4th down.
Yeah, rush 3, drop 8. Great thing about that is even if they run, you have eyes on the football. They rally to the ball. And Brian Kelly there is just saying, you know what? We're gonna punt the football, play field position with 4:30 to go, see if the defense can get a stop, and see if we can get one more chance with better field position.
Maybe you have to have a conversation with those big O-linemen over there. Kelly did it before when last time they came off the field. This may be even more intense. There's a punt, bounced around down there. Looked like it touched somebody. They didn't pick it up that way, and the Irish are going to down the ball at the 8-yard line.
Yeah, he wants to know if it touched his gunner Farley, who was down the safety, or if it may have hit the Clemson player who was blocking him. I think that's
35-yard punt. It hit somebody.
I thought Farley kicked it, the safety, Matthias Farley.
And Dabo wants an explanation.
41, see if he kicks it.
They're going to spot it. Yeah, they're going to spot the ball back at the 27.
Yeah, Mark Fields never even came close to the football.
So Clemson with 4:06.5 goes back on offense. Matthias Farley, the nickelback who was down there covering the punt, it hit his leg, and so the ball was spotted at the 29. Tigers trying to add to a lead before the break. Wayne Gallman, the running back, has not really gotten loose tonight. He's run it 7 times for 23 yards. They give it to him for an 8th time. into heavy traffic. Jerry Tillery, one of the talented freshman defensive linemen for the Irish, on the tackle.
Well, I think Notre Dame's defense has kind of settled into the game. This game started so fast with Watson making plays, and he was running, he was throwing, and before you know it, they've got their first 2 possessions, 14 points on the board. And since then, you can see that Notre Dame has settled in, made some adjustments, and they're creating their own pressure for this Clemson offensive line, similar to what their line's dealing with.
Jet sweep motion. Scott jukes his way to the 35. It'll be 3rd and 4. He's an electric guy with the ball in his hands.
Chris Brian Van Gorder, the defensive coordinator from Notre Dame, is now in his 2nd year. One of the great minds in college. He's been up in the NFL. He's come back to work with Notre Dame. He's got great looks on the sideline, but 2nd year in his system, I think it's allowed his defense to understand him, and they allowed him to play much faster this year in this 2nd year.
Let's see if Van Gorder's defense can get Watson off the field. A 3rd down throw was dangerous into traffic. Redfield was closing in. Watson knocked down by Day after the throw, and it's 4th down.
Well, I think he got away with one there. Redfield was actually reading the receivers. His eyes were on the receiver and not on the quarterback. And if his eyes were on the quarterback, he would have been able to see that he had a chance to make the interception. There's Sheldon Day finally making an impact. Doesn't have to get the sack, but get into the face of Watson. You can see the eyes of Redfield 10. He didn't even realize the ball was thrown in his direction. If he would have, he had a shot at an interception.
So Van Gorder's defense, another positive series, another punt from Teasdall, and a fair catch. Juggled but recovered by C.J. Sanders. Bear, we've been so busy up here. I don't know if you've even thought about your trivia question.
Let me see it, Bear. What do you got again?
And now it's time to answer tonight's Aflac trivia question. We told you Notre Dame has had 7 Heisman Trophy winners. Clemson, none. 2 guys finished 6th as the highest. Who were they? The answer, 1978, Steve Fuller. 2009, C.J. Spiller.
Yeah, I should have gotten C.J. Spiller.
But 6th is the highest ever for Clemson.
Maybe Deshaun Watson can, before he's done, can.
Fuller, of course, the quarterback in that game that Montana won with his late heroics here in '77. So the Irish, 2:46 to work with, a couple of timeouts. Kaiser. Lots of time now. Backpedals, throws it across the middle, a completion, and then a hard hit after an 8-yard gain. Jayon Curse delivered this shot there in Carlisle.
I just cannot get over this presence that Kaiser has. And we got an offensive lineman that was down. At least he is up. Now, watch Kaiser here. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, he's waiting and waiting and waiting, and then just buys enough time here to be able to eventually find his man. He's got some open receivers. He's just having a hard time locating them. He's been very fortunate. His offensive line has been able to hold up there.
Quentin Nelson, the guard, the sophomore, is the offensive lineman down. Boy, the last thing Notre Dame fans want to see is as another starter. And they've had, what, 6 of them go down to injury, so they'll examine that. But, boy, Notre Dame came in here to a hostile environment, an inexperienced quarterback in this situation. Deshaun Watson, Kirk, was just razor sharp the first 2 drives, found themselves in a 14-0 hole. And we thought, uh-oh, look out. Now what is Kelly going to do to get back in the game? They got to 3, but it's been the Irish defense that's impressed me since.
Without a doubt. I think both defenses, and it's a combination of maybe the conditions and not necessarily, especially in Notre Dame's or Clemson's defense, not necessarily fearing the pass game, so it's allowed them to be ultra aggressive. And they're going to stay that way until Kaiser's eventually makes them pay for that. But, yeah, you're right. Notre Dame had a chance there for a second. They're down 14. The crowd's in the game, and it's looking a little scary. They got the field goal kind of settled down, and from that point on, Brian Van Gorder's bunch has definitely kept them in this game. But Kaiser's going to have to make some plays along with Procise.
On a windy night with a wet field position's been important, and the Irish have had terrible field position the last 4 possessions, so they had to be a little bit careful. They'll get the ball to begin the second half, and we'll see if C.J. Procise he can finally get loose. It'd be hard to imagine Notre Dame coming out of here with a win if he doesn't do something.
Well, as I said, for him to be able to start to become effective, they're going to have to get the passing game going to open some running lanes.
Around the end is Hunter. He takes a hit, but he makes a first down. 2 minutes to go in the half.
And at the same time, you know Brian Kelly, the one thing about him, and he even said to us this week, we've got to be patient. We've got to be patient on the road with our play calling. It's a 4-quarter game. It's a 60-minute game. We're going to stick to our game plan.
Kaiser tried to get it to Fuller, and Mackenzie Alexander was all over him and gives him a little wag of the finger. That's part of his game, and not necessarily something that everybody loves about it.
No, but it kind of fires him up, and he also likes to try to get to the head of the guy he's going up against, and he's going up against Will Fuller. This is the matchup, and he's kept Fuller quiet tonight so far.
Oh, almost intercepted across the middle of Boulware, had his hands on it as Kaiser didn't spy him.
Well, Boulware has had some chances, and I think he's learning as the game goes on. Watch the eyes of the quarterback. He does a good job of looking off, and then once he locates his tight end, Wisher, who he wants to go to, I don't think he ever saw Boulware just waiting there and kind of waiting for that throw. He was fortunate he got away with one there.
This is what Kelly was fearing. Another 3rd and long against this Tiger defense. Boulware shows pressure up the middle. They pick him up. Kaiser, another high throw over the head of Fuller. A flag coming down.
Chris, I think Boulware was in the neutral zone. I think he may have had a free play there.
Offsides. Defense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
For once, the Irish offensive line didn't flinch, and that'll give a 3rd and more manageable look now. The Irish have struggled on 3rd down at Virginia on the road. 0 for 10. They were 4 for 11 against Georgia Tech, even though they were productive. It hasn't been a great 3rd down offense so far this year. We need 5.
Fuller up here at the top.
Tigers again showing pressure. They bring a bunch of it. Kaiser has time, but a couple receivers in the pattern. Now a flag comes down in the secondary. And this is going to be against the Tigers.
Holding. Defense number 11. 10-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's a great call. Amir Carlisle was actually about to break free from Travis Blanks. And he got fooled, and like most defenders, when they get fooled, they just kind of put their arm out and try to grab on, and he did. He locked on to Amir Carlisle. Great call right there by the officials, and the right call. But one thing I'm starting to see is Clemson's secondary moving after the snap and fooling Kaiser. He had a wide open Will Fuller that time because Mackenzie Alexander bailed, and he had a curl route for a first down, and he never even looked that way because he lined up the way he is right now in press and then bailed like he is now.
There's a first down throw far side way over the head of Fuller.
That's exactly this time. I don't know if somebody sent a message in. Mackenzie Alexander's showing press, and then as the ball is snapped, he's bailing, which means we have the underneath routes if we want them. He missed the last one on 3rd down. That time he came back to him and just missed the throw.
Get the thoughts of John Saunders, Mark May, and Mac Brown on this game. All the happenings on a busy Saturday. The BMW halftime report is coming up. Minute 29 till the break. Clemson had the Irish at 3rd and 10. 2 penalties gave them the first down. And they've now moved into Tiger territory.
Let's see if Alexander does it again up here. That's a great matchup. Does he bail?
Kaiser has the ball, goes downfield for Robinson, who makes close to making the catch in his hands. He was running against Tankersley, and the Admiral's son has been nursing a knee, could not collect it.
It would have been a great catch, but Chris, remember I talked about this, and also watch this down the middle of the field. This is part of being young and being a quarterback. They bring the blitz, and look right here how it breaks free, and look at this open man right there. These are things he already had locked in on Robinson. Robinson had a chance, but he had 2 wide open receivers he never saw.
That's a great point. He went to the 3rd easiest guy, right, in that route? 3rd and 10 across the middle. That's Hunter making a catch, but hit hard by Blanks. Short of a first down. So 4th down. Ball spotted at the 44.
For Brian Kelly, it's smart to just kind of work a little bit of clock here, getting under a minute. You talked about they defer so they get the ball to start the second half.
Try to gamble here?
Yeah. I think well, depending on the countdown, he's going to take the clock all the way down here and then probably make that timeout and make a decision. In case he misses it, if he ends up going for it, he doesn't want to give Deshaun Watson much time to work with.
Guys are 9 of 19. Receivers haven't exactly helped him out. It had a few clutch drops. ESPN, after the Ducks and the Buffs in Boulder. SportsCenter will have you covered with a complete postgame wrap-up. There are some I saw this morning that think that the Buffaloes, who are not a very big underdog to Oregon, have a chance for a milestone landmark win.
That would be me. That would be me.
Capital One rankings here. You see Ohio State, boy, they had to fight off against a very feisty Indiana team. A lot of heart, 7-point win. UCLA now down 22-10.
Look at this. Look at the upset. Potential upset there. Ohio State fortunate to get out of there with a win. That's what makes it. This is when you start this. You get into October, you start to figure some things out.
Week 5, Kirk, was you got to beware week 5 for the upsets.
He sure did.
It's been a recent trend. Could continue. So the punt team out for the Irish. Clemson will take a timeout. Wouldn't figure they try to do too much.
No, but
Irish
good to
punt it down there.
Yeah, you can see the intensity down there with Dabo Swinney. Just good to be safe. Go punt safe and be aware of that potential that might happen.
Dabo's got a pretty good record. You talk about Swinney against top 10 opponents when he's the lower ranked guy. 5-2. Won 4-0 when the games have been home or neutral. And he put out to us the other day, no player on this roster has ever lost a game to a team that finished the season ranked outside the top 10. So that's 7 losses the last 3 years, but none of those old quote-unquote Clemsoning losses that we used to talk about in the old days when they would lose to a team they should handle easily.
And then lose to Duke or NC State or some last 3 years, 35-7, some wins over LSU, Auburn, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma.
So Newsom to punt into a wind, drops the point and kicks a short kick, but a nice roll. And so inside of 30 seconds, Clemson will have the ball at the 3-yard line. Well, tomorrow, NFL Insiders will get your day started, followed by the NFL Sunday Countdown, guys. 10 a.m. for the Insiders, 11 o'clock for Countdown. And it's Sunday on ESPN beginning. And 10 and streaming live on the Watch ESPN app.
That Cincinnati Bengals ball club off to a pretty good start.
You say that every week, and they've won again, so it's undefeated. So are the Broncos.
The Red Rifle getting it done.
Indeed, Dalton. Dalton was excited watching Trevon Boykin and TCU drop the hammer on the Horns. They was 30-0 TCU at the end of the first quarter.
Never thought I'd ever see TCU or anybody up on Texas 30-0 in the first quarter.
So safety as Watson takes a knee. Boy, has a fast start for the Tigers. Took the first possession of the end zone, got a 3-and-out, and we're quickly up 14-0. But the Irish defense rose up, and Clemson only outgained Notre Dame by a total of 15 yards in the first half. Irish will get the ball to begin the second half. The end of 30 minutes in Death Valley. The BMW halftime report, including Heather's interview with Dabo Swinney, coming up right after these messages. Presentation of the ACC on ESPN. Clemson trying to give the ACC a much-needed signature win. They lead the Irish 14-3 at halftime. Party mood here. DJ Shaw. We have a live DJ here. Keeping it going here. Is it a quick start to the party for Clemson? They had those quick 14-point lead, but the Irish methodically kind of getting back in it, Kirk. This is an offense for Notre Dame that's been hitting a lot of home runs in the first 4 games. A lot of chunk plays. 7 touchdowns of 50-plus, but only one really explosive play tonight, and it was a scramble by Kaiser. What can they do to create more of those plays?
Well, they came into this game, their bread and butter is C.J. Prosise in their running game, and on the early downs, we talked a lot in the first half. Clemson is anticipating run on 1st and 10, and I think that's where the chunk plays could come in the second half for Brian Kelly. They're going to end up running the ball. They're going to want to run the ball because that's who they are with Kaiser at quarterback. But I think 1st and 10, you got to take a few shots against man-to-man coverage and count on Will Fuller and the other receivers getting separation against that one-on-one coverage and making a play.
Robinson had a chance to make a play, couldn't collect a ball at the goal line. Fuller had a big drop on a 3rd down play at midfield. Yep. Did not help the quarterback out. It's tough conditions for receivers with a wet football. But Clemson's receivers have had few problems, relatively speaking.
Especially early.
See if Sanders collects it on the hop. And the freshman follows some blockers, breaks a tackle, loses the ball. And Clemson says they've got it at the 30. The kicker, Lakeup, who comes off a suspension, came flying down there, may have knocked the ball loose.
I think he did. I mean, he knocked it.
Wow. Welcome back to the Clemson Tigers. Again, had a tough start to the season. You don't expect this from a kicker.
I mean, this is incredible technique. He put his helmet right on the football. And that is unbelievable play by the kicker, and DJ Greenlee ends up coming up with it.
C.J. Fuller may have been involved in the recovery as well. So Notre Dame immediately has to go on defense, Kirk, and try to prevent this lead from growing.
Well, and if you're Clemson after a big turnover like that, you're in attack mode. Talking to the freshman.
Scott on the pop pass. Has a couple of blockers out front. Nice 1st down gain before Smith got him.
Really reminds me of how the game started. Clemson got the opening kickoff. They had a nice return and a big run to start the game by Watson, and they got the Notre Dame defense on its heels, and they became the aggressor early in the game, and now they get a turnover here to start the second half, and right away they're in aggressive mode.
Scott is in the backfield as they motioned Gallman out, and the throw is incomplete. It was low. And trying to come back to the ball there was Jermon Hopper. 3rd and 2 now.
Yeah, double screen set up to the left and the right. Notre Dame took away Artavius Scott and also did a really good job of taking away the receiver to the right. It was nice defense, anticipating and expecting that.
So after the first turnover of the game, Clemson needs to. The Irish, this would be enormous for the Notre Dame defense to get a stop after the fumble.
Remember, quarterback run was a real weapon for Clemson.
Scott in motion. Watson does keep it and heads to the end zone. Kirk, as you're right, the second half begins much like the first did.
Yeah, they kind of went away from it, which was surprising, but the early part of the first half, we saw a lot of runs from Deshaun Watson, and here on a crucial 3rd down to start this second half, you get exactly the look that they want. Again, this guy, he doesn't run the ball the way Taj Boyd used to with the physicality, but he hits a crease, and he's got the speed to take it to the end zone.
So Watson has thrown for 2 and now run for 1. He's got 72 yards on the ground.
And it's all because of this fumble. Great job by the kicker causing it. Clemson jumps on top of it. And a couple plays later, big 3rd down. Deshaun Watson calls his own number, gets the look that he needs, the blocks, and into the end zone.
So Watson touchdown run builds the cushion to the Tigers' biggest of the night, 18. Lakeup the kicker. They're going to keep C.J. Sanders on the return team. And there'll be no return this time. With the 16 days between games, they had a lot of things to work on. They fired a couple guys on the kick coverage team, and they produced a turnover.
Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary and talked about the fast start. Deshaun Watson, awareness, accuracy, decision-making, and also tonight his legs. Great blocks downfield. Got the look that they wanted. They motioned a man over, opened up perfectly. How about this Clemson defense? We're about to see him again, making it very, very tough on C.J. Procise when he is running the football. Just nowhere to go. Nothing but orange jerseys.
The Irish thought they would get the ball. Kirk down 14-3, and now a fumble. The ball is loose, scooped up by Curse. A second turnover, and Clemson a chance now to blow this open as the Irish self-destruct. Ben Boulware knocked the ball loose. Curse recovered it. Terrible night for Procise.
Well, it's been one of those nights for this Notre Dame offense. He finally gets a little bit of room to work with. The contact from Boulware, the club that comes through, the ball is down. They had a little bit of room. And there's the safety Curse jumping on top of the football.
I'm going to say they get the ball, you think, down 11 to start the second half. With the fumble kickoff, they get it back down 18, and now in the first play, cough it up.
Well, this is huge right here to see what happens. Look at all the miscues and mistakes, the things that have not gone their way. But this is big. And I think Dabo Swinney and his offensive coordinators, they sense an opportunity here. Let's see if Notre Dame's defense can step up.
Yeah, pump fake. It's a screen in traffic. The catch is made by talented true freshman Ray McLeod, but a short gain.
And Jalen Smith, nice job there. Again, he's in the middle of that defense along with Joe Schmidt. And when you're on the ropes like this, and you're on the road, I mean, that's where you typically are going to hope that a guy like Schmidt or Smith or Sheldon Day can make a play to help this defense.
Watson gives it off to Gallman. It's a short gain. Smith and Schmidt, two buddies who are, they say, on the same page. You almost have a telepathic communication. They're also golfing buddies, but you're exactly right. Somebody right now has to try to turn momentum. If this thing gets to 28-3 in a wet night, you got big problems.
Absolutely right. That's why I'm saying this possession right here is crucial for both teams. Notre Dame wants to keep themselves in it, and Clemson's looking for a knockout punch. Soft coverage at the top. He'll recognize that. It's actually he's changing the protection right now, moving a tight end leg it over, but he's got soft coverage if he wants it to peak at the top.
3rd and 9, looks back to the left, lobs it down the field. Scott with a diving attempt, could not come up with it. Had a chance to make a ball. Is a beautiful throw laid out there by Watson.
Yeah, so instead of going up to the top of the soft coverage, he decides to go to one of his go-to guys, Scott. The ball is absolutely perfectly thrown on the outside shoulder. You see the separation. Scott did what he needed to do at the line of scrimmage to pull away from Luke. The ball is thrown to the outside shoulder where he can go away from the defender. He just wasn't able to hold on to the football. Okay, you see the rain coming down. You know, receivers hate to have excuses. We've seen some great catches despite these conditions. As a receiver, you really got to lock in and focus when you have those kind of opportunities.
Swinney upset. He sent Greg Hugel on for what would be a 52-yard field goal. The wind is at his back. So even though that's 5 yards longer than his previous best this year, they didn't see the play clock running down and had to spend a timeout.
You don't see Dabo get that fired up. He might be thinking about dancing in the locker room later, but right now he is fired up.
Oh boy, yeah, we asked.
Pull out the
Ray, the whip,
stinky leg, the whip, the nay-nay.
He'll be dancing if they close this win out. You can guarantee that.
Oh, he may pull the nay-nay out here on the field. Talking to Heather, they win this game.
Well, now a 52-yarder. Again, he's got a tailwind here, but this is tough conditions. Seth Ryan is the holder. And it's a fake, or it's a punt. Hugel just takes the direct snap and pooches it down there and shows pretty good touch. Quarterback's got good touch. So does the kicker.
Smart decision, but a big stop by Notre Dame's defense after that turnover.
We're a marketing research company, so I need...
Saturday Night Football, presented by Wells Fargo. Brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Wells Fargo. On your phone, online, on the go. Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done. And Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
Dr. Pepper Championship Drive game of the week is 21-3. So for the Irish, Kirk, you're down 18. You've had turnovers on consecutive plays here. 95 yards away. The rain is pouring. Wind in your face.
Yeah. And you're going to face a defense that's going to pin its ears and shoot the safeties and linebackers to the line of scrimmage.
Rosice picks his way for one of the better runs of the night. He got 10 yards and a first down.
Boy, that was a great job by the right side of that offensive line of opening up some room finally for C.J. Prosize. They got a great push and just opened that up. Elmer, the right guard, McGlinchey, the right tackle.
Prosize is a guy, Kirk, he went 91 yards against Tech, so he's a threat from anywhere on the field if they can get him a little crease like that. Hard-earned 3 yards. Heather?
Well, guys, amazing. Brian Kelly out of the locker room. Nothing. He talked about nothing but the running game, and then boom, back-to-back turnovers. How can he find success? He talked about the O-line needing to block better. He talked about finding the perimeter and taking advantage of it when it's there. And he talked about finding those gaps. And guys, as you can tell, this is definitely the toughest, hardest rain of the night.
Two tight end look with Prosize, and Kaiser follows again over the head of Fuller, who's closely covered by McKenzie, who's winning that one-on-one battle so far anyway.
Yeah, and Heather touched on something there at the end of her report about the weather, and just from up here you can tell it's like sheets now coming down, rain with that wind. Right now they're facing that wind that's down there.
A lot of things going against them. And another 3rd and long.
It's like pressure from the left. They're disguising it. They're showing it from the left and the right. Bullware lined up with the middle linebacker Goodson off to the left outside of the tackle.
Yep. Here they come. They pick it up well. Flipped in the flat. Prosize makes the catch and gets free. C.J. Prosize brought down across the 40. It was a saving tackle by Alexander. That might have gone a lot farther.
You watch Goodson. They both are showing it. Bullware comes. He disguises and then comes out to try to pick up Prosize coming out. And because he hesitated, he tried to stay with him. Just a great move by Prosize to get separation. And then a great touch throw by Deshaun Kaiser.
He's had trouble running, but picks up 23 as a receiver there. Kaiser looked right, didn't have anybody, and he's dragged down behind the line of scrimmage by Carlos Watkins.
Looked like a little bit of confusion by this Notre Dame offensive line, and also great suddenness right here. He just shoots a gap. Nobody picked him up. By the time Kaiser even just started to look, he's already in the backfield. Watkins with some great acceleration, but it makes it a little easier when there's a mistake up front, a mental breakdown there by the Irish offensive line.
Josh Adams is a freshman in the game, takes a handoff, kind of a frustrated reaction from Kaiser after the play. Did he want to pull the ball?
Yeah, it's a zone read where the quarterback, you got a freshman running back and a quarterback who's trying to make a read, and when you make that read, the running back and the quarterback have to be on the same page. They have to read the same thing. So it's not like you're just handing it off and carrying out a fake. You don't know who's going to get the ball until you're at that mesh point, depending on what the defender does.
Adams is a talented young freshman prospect, but his first carry of the night sets up a 3rd and 12. Kaiser steps up. Nowhere to go. Dragged down again. Had time initially, but no one to throw to.
Well, no, they rush 3 and drop 8. again, he has people. And it's one of those things that when you have an offensive line, it's going to give you that kind of time. You've got to be able to locate it. His eyes are on one or two guys. It's hard at his age and with a lack of experience to find the third guy. But rushing three, and that time Kevin Dodd is able to get there and apply the pressure.
You see Kelly asking him, what did you see? Scott just gets away from it, and the ball will roll out of bounds. Clemson will start inside their 10. It's the 11th year for Allstate, sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets. Allstate making contributions to general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. Allstate has contributed millions already in scholarship funds. 53-yard punt. Newsom pins the Tigers back deep now.
Well, that's again, if you're looking at the big picture, 21-3. At the very least, Notre Dame was penned back inside their own 10 to start their last drive. They pick up a few first downs. They get a good punt. Now their defense again. Now they've got to get some. They got to get a stop and try to get the ball back to their offense. A good field position.
Hard running by Wayne Gallman. Pretty good gain on first down.
Sean Watson. A game where he's been involved in the run game, which we anticipated. A couple touchdown passes, 72 yards rushing, averaging over 10 yards a carry when he does keep the ball. And, of course, the last touchdown they had was him keeping it and getting into the end zone.
And second down. Moment again. And the Irish gang tackle him just short of the marker. So it'll be third down. They'll need a couple. Gallman hasn't had a lot of room, averaging 3.4 on his 11 carries. You hear the heavy rain now thumping on our microphones on the field. It's a long one on third down. Figures to be a quarterback run. Watson able to just wriggle for enough room to move the chains.
Yeah, I think you and I and Joe Schmidt and everybody else, when they saw Gallman motion out of the backfield, Joe Schmidt pointed to Jalen Smith to be ready. And Joe Schmidt took on the block, and he was hoping that Jalen Smith might be able to make the play to keep him short of the first down. So even when you know it's coming, sometimes you're not able to stop him.
Handed off to Gallman on the edge. Boy, you could hear the pads pop. It was 9 versus 9 as Smith brought him down quickly.
That's fun to watch that. Yeah, it gives you a feel right here to be out in the field. That's some speed right there coming together.
Arriving with bad intent, as you said. We didn't see a lot of that last week.
No, no. You're going to see that
defense.
From 9.
You know, you pointed on the need for this Irish defense to try to make a play, turn things their way. Watson rolling. He's brought down, hammered really hard outside the pocket there. That's what makes Clemson fans really nervous. As Tillery arrived and had help.
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy that had ACL surgery just 10 months ago. So, he's put some weight on. Last year, as a true freshman, he was slight. He was 195 pounds. Now he's up to 210 pounds, and you could just tell. We haven't seen him since last year. When you see him on film, it's one thing. You see him in person, he's gotten thicker, but still, you hold your breath with a guy that had an ACL 10 months ago.
Rolls out on third down, fires near side, tipped. Is it a catch? No ruling yet. They're talking about, yes, on a tip. Renfro came up with it. Irish are arguing he was juggling the ball. Clemson trying to play very fast, see if they can beat a potential replay review.
And a lot of times that'll make the officials stop the action, in which they do.
Joe Ryder is the replay official.
Completed pass. That play is under further review.
They're right next to us over here.
Watch Renfro, Chris. This is like backyard football playing in the slop in the rain off of two players. And it's going to come down to whether or not that he had possession when the left foot was down.
I don't think so.
Let's take another. This will be a good angle because he initially. You can't see that. You can't see that. And not only that, Chris, he initially touched the ball. He possessed the ball, and then it looks like he let go of it.
This is a very big ball.
Watch the ball. See how the ball left his hand? So I think by the time it left his hand, he ended up losing possession of it. Why?
Maybe the best angle here. Right? Yeah, I think he's got possession after he's already out of bounds.
See, people think it's not about that, because I'm telling you, he loses the ball and now his feet are in the air. I don't think that's a completion.
It's a huge potential overturn. It would be 4th and 7.
Again, watch the ball.
Taken away.
Watch the ball. It's in the air, and then and then his feet go into the air.
You're right, though. He was right there with an opportunity to make a play that would have moved the chains.
It's nothing like calling a game here at Clemson when the fans are about 6 feet away, turning to you and I, saying, "Is it good or not?"
If you signal incomplete, they don't like you very much.
I gave them the sign like, "I don't think it's good." They're like, "Come on!" Like we see them down here.
Yeah, they're all
see them right here.
Yeah,
everybody wave.
All of our friends.
Wave to the stage.
You guys are on.
There you go.
They should be looking right over here. Those are the guys making the decision, just off that direction.
Yeah, I think it's an incompletion.
That's the
Sorry,
replay
I'm telling
official.
them. Incomplete, guys.
There's Joe Ryder nodding his head.
Leave us with the guys next to us. We're not cheering in the press box.
No, Renfro, very sure-handed receiver, made a tough catch in the rain earlier. Let's bring our rules expert Dave Katai in. What is your opinion of what you've seen?
Well, Kirk and Chris, it's very close, but I have to agree kind of with you. That left foot is on that line, and he's juggling it.
Watch the ball go into the air, Dave, right?
Right there.
Not here, there.
See it? Right there.
Yeah.
And he, to me, does not have possession in bounds.
Yeah. If he would have held on to it on that first possession when he first caught the ball, I think he might. Then the debate would have been about the left foot, the left toe. But the ball went back up into the air, and then he secured the ball. And by then his feet were in the air, and it was an incomplete.
I have to agree with you, Kirk. That's the way it looks to me.
After further review, the ruling on the field, the player did not maintain possession, therefore it is incomplete. 4th down and 7. Ball be placed on the right hand.
Not popular here, but we think correct. So it is 4th down on a punt coming up instead of 1st down.
That was
great effort, though.
It was
great effort.
It was.
The reaction of Renfro's teammates, their faces, they were like, "Wow, can you believe he made that?"
We were so caught up in was he inbounds or out of bounds. It's nice to be able to step back and say that was pretty cool to see him somehow in these conditions. We're seeing guys have balls thrown right to them, drop it. He's somehow able to focus and concentrate and come up with that football.
Well, Sanders, who lost the football to begin this half, desperate to try to make a play, redeem himself, is back deep. Teasdale punts it high. Again, it's going to bounce and spin backwards, so no chance for a return. Irish with 6 minutes to go in the 3rd, down 18.
Cassidy Hubbard with your Taco Bell studio update. Things getting interesting over on the SEC Network. Dak Prescott, 5-yard TD run, 27-17 Aggies in the 4th on the SEC Network. Chris, Irby, back to you.
Well, thank you, Cassidy, here in wet and wild Clemson. These folks are ready for even more rain, and then that's good because even more rain's headed this way.
No doubt.
On 1st down, Kaiser has to sidestep the rush and delivers to a wide-open man, dropped again. This time it was Torrey Hunter Jr. A rough night for the Irish receivers in the rain. And Kirk, we are where this big orange tiger paw is, and that is a lot of orange and yellow stuff headed up from the coast. Charleston has been badly flooded the last 24 hours. It's vigorously a little uglier here.
And looking at the score, knowing that that's on its way, 21-3, Notre Dame better get some points on the board in a hurry.
Adams takes the handoff and is hit immediately in the backfield. A flag comes down. Kevin Dodd is joining Shaq Lawson. Both defensive ends having strong nights.
A Notre Dame player ran onto the field.
Illegal substitution against the offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
You know, the confusion in a tough environment continues for Kelly's offense.
Will Fuller ran onto the field. I'd be curious to know what Brian Kelly is what he's upset about. I mean, the ball was just about to be snapped.
Mackenzie Alexander, the corner for the Tigers, was slow to get up. He's now trotting off. He's the guy that's been shadowing Fuller all night.
See, Fuller's off the field. He'll go off the field. He's up there at the top. Then he goes off. And then the play goes on. And then at the last second, watch him emerge back here. He starts to come back on the field, and then they snap the ball.
So 3rd down and long again. They need 10. Guys are rolling. He's got room to run. Takes a hit and is stopped short at the 45-yard line. It'll be 4th and 2. Christian Wilkins chased him down.
Interesting,
talented freshman on this team.
Interesting decision right here. And at that time, Kaiser just turned his shoulders and just knew he was going to take off and run with the football. But Clemson gets to stop. Notre Dame's going to have to punt the football.
Too early to gamble, in your opinion, here, needing 2 yards if you're Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, you're still in the 3rd quarter. You still feel like you trust your defense to get the ball back.
There is no return man for the Tigers. Newsom just boots it away and bounces around. And will drop at the 16-yard line. And the reminder, Monday night on ESPN, Seahawks and the Lions. Interesting when desperation comes into play in the NFL early in a season. That is the situation for Detroit, but a very tough spot having to go to Seattle. 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Rosais wasn't in there at the end of that last drive, trying to stay loose on the exercise bike. Kind of limped off the field, Kirk, and he's been held to 32 yards on his 13 carries, 2.5 per carry.
Does have 2 receptions for 28 yards. That's kind of been their answer to try to get him loose.
Goldman trying to get loose, and he lowers his shoulder, picks up 7.
Well, I've been impressed by Clemson running between the tackles. There's Alexander, who's going to go in and get looked at in the locker room. That's a big loss because he has been matched up against Notre Dame's best receiver. But I've been impressed with, they're not getting a ton of yards, but 132 on the ground, and Gallman's been able to contribute to that along with Watson.
At it again. Takes a big shot at the end of the run, but you know, Gallman maybe not the most naturally gifted running back, but he really makes up for it with effort and toughness.
But I don't know if we have time. If we could show that Sheldon Day, the defensive tackle, who's an All-American candidate that time, he's been getting worked over. We have not called his name much at all tonight. And that time, Joe Gore and Tyrone Crowder just took him out, completely out, and opened up a nice running lane.
They pitch it near side. Gallman spins back and gets in the open field and moves the chains again to the 42. So now the Tiger running game beginning to get revved up.
And I'm sure Jeff Scott and Tony Elliott, the co-coordinators, are looking down at this and thinking, they're probably kind of looking at themselves or talking to themselves saying, hey, how about this? I mean, we thought we might have to run more with Deshaun Watson, but right now we're starting to really control that line of scrimmage.
You feed Gallman again. He gets the edge. We wondered which offensive line, Kirk, would have success against the opposite D-line. It's been Clemson so far.
It really has. And if you watch the first 3 games for both teams, you would never have anticipated. You would have thought, you know, the scheme and the tempo could be an equalizer, help Clemson. But that offensive line deserves a ton of credit for the way they have played in this slop against a talented front 4.
They moved 34 yards in the drive, all of them by Gallman until that keeper by Watson. So it'll be 3rd down and short about midfield.
Notre Dame has played this year. They have played well, and then they would have they'd give up a big play, you know, more often than not through the air. But they have played well. They've shown you what they're capable of doing, especially up in the front 6. I say 6 because, you know, most of their outside linebackers walked out because of the spread looks that they see.
So Watson checks the play card in 3rd and 3. Zach Brooks is in the game. Watson just takes off, breaks a tackle, moves the chains again. Gabo Sweeney told us, hey, the gloves are off. The knee is healthy. Deshaun feels good. This is a tough opponent. We're going to have to run him tonight.
And the timing on that quarterback counter play was exceptional. Tyrone Crowder, the right guard, pulled it through. Zach Brooks, the running back, had a nice block. That opened up perfectly.
It's Brooks that comes in motion. They give it to him, and he fumbles it, still booting it around. Excuse me, that's Ray McLeod, 34, and it's an incomplete pass because it was a pop pass. The freshman couldn't grab the handle there. That's the good thing about that kind of a play.
Exactly. Yeah. It happens really fast, and it's just a little pop pass, but right away you just assume, you think it's a fumble. And one thing they might look at is that, did he have possession of the ball? Did he didn't take enough steps to have possession?
You could see his eyes kind of turning upfield.
Oh, yeah.
The guy was looking where he was going and didn't secure the ball. Watson spun around and hit for a loss. So the Irish defense gets in there. Cole Luke off his corner, got there quickly, and it's 3rd and long now.
Yeah, that time they're trying to just do anything to try to change the flow of this offense. They brought the corner from the bottom on the blitz there, as you said, Luke, and right now you're on the ropes. You got to try to pull out all the stops, and Brian Van Gorder is known as an aggressive defensive coach.
You see a change, by the way, in Brian tonight?
What's that?
You see a change?
He doesn't
not
have
the green leprechaun look. No. He said, do you not like us?
He's going to go with the green.
Wear what you want, but he's in blue tonight. Watson, a downfield shot, and a flag comes in. Hunter Renfrow was tackled by Kavari Russell. So Renfrow, who almost made that circus catch off the carom.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 6. 15-yard penalty.
Not the guy you expect to go deep, but he beat Russell.
No, he gets around him and shows some pretty good quickness. He gets outside. Russell's known as the top cover corner for Notre Dame. He's in pretty good position, actually, but right at the end, as Renfrow's going for the football, that's where Russell ends up having to get it. He pulled onto, looks like onto his belt, maybe.
So the penalty moves the ball to the 33.5, approaching the final minute of the 3rd quarter.
Well, Renfrow, 5'10", 175 pounds, former walk-on.
Yeah, just got a scholarship. Big,
it's pretty good.
Big moment for him.
Let's see why.
Now, they lob it down deep. Peak. Juggled it. Luke was defending, and it's picked off.
See, I got to say something. You're down 21-3, right? Isn't that the score?
Yeah.
It's 21-3. and you just make it a play, and you're still talking to the crowd. I mean, you made a great play. You're trying to get the ball back to your offense, and you're worried about looking up to the crowd and giving them the sign. I just don't understand that. We see that all over college football and NFL football. It makes no sense to me. You're losing 21-3. So anyway, besides that,
it's a great play.
He's in position. The ball was just thrown up. It's one of those plays that you hope your receiver is going to go, and you just throw it to a spot. And he threw it to a spot, and Luke actually did a nice job of anticipating it, got in position to be able to go up and make the play. But he just needs to be happy. They got the interception, and now he hope the offense goes down and scores.
Well, that Peak was in good position. Luke has both of the picks the Irish have made this season. Procise knocked down after 9 yards. Heather?
Well, it looks like that bike did C.J. Procise some good. He's been stretching out that left quad and staying on that bike to try to keep it warm. He's definitely got a pull there, but obviously will continue to play. Also, his quarterback, Deshaun Kaiser, cramping in both calves, continues to stretch those out. Just went up to both of his receivers and said, "We've got this. We've been here before," referencing the Virginia come from behind win.
Heather, thank you. Procise trying to spin free, spins again, and gets a first down to the 40. They were not down 18 to Virginia.
No.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, and they weren't playing this defense, but you can understand what Heather's saying about, hey, we've been here before. The only difference, I would say, you got a guy down, looks like the safety.
Yeah, that's Green.
You're down 3 possessions, and at this point, I'm not feeling any urgency. Like, you know what I'm saying? With Kaiser,
right?
You know, you're only going to get the football back so many times, and you're going to need to start to. You don't have to go hurry up, but you need to kind of get out of the huddle and have a little bit of urgency to you, because it's not just about scoring on this possession. You need another stop, and then another score, and then another stop, and another score.
Yeah, they have not been able to create the chunk plays, the kind they were able to create in their first 4 games. NFL Insiders and Sunday NFL Countdown. Begin your day at 10 a.m. Eastern, and then the countdown comes on at 11 and streams live on the Watch ESPN app. It's tomorrow over on ESPN. So Green is helped up, and that didn't look to be anything serious. Painful for sure momentarily, but he is helped off. Just got hit in a vulnerable position there. He's been active tonight. 7 tackles for Venables' defense, which has so far done a tremendous job.
Still can't believe this was the best defense in college football last year. If you look at the numbers, and they lost virtually everybody off of that defense. And this defense, first 4 weeks of the season, playing the way they are. It says a lot about Brent Venables and his scheme and his relationship with these players.
Absolutely. Number 1 in yards per game, pass efficiency, tackles for loss, and third down. And they are looking like they're not missing a beat in 2015. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC station. Beginning of the final quarter, this presentation of the ACC on ESPN. Clemson, one of 6 ACC opponents the Irish are playing this year. And the rain has not dampened the spirits. It's still a rowdy party in Death Valley and a long hill to climb for the Irish. Kaiser has time now, decides to take off and slides down at the 45. It's a good first down gain. But you'd like to see him, Kirk. I'll ask you, and again, how do you create a chunk play?
The problem is Brent Venables is a smart guy. He's got 2 safeties that are deep, taking away anything thrown downfield unless you can throw it over the middle of the field. Or you can try to hit a slip screen. But Brent Venables knows they need to hit some chunk plays. He wants to make them have to drive the field for everything that they have.
Venables in his 4th year. His defense has improved its points allowed every year. Well, Kaiser gives a fake and loops it down wide open. Is Procise on the sidelines, stays in bounds and scores. So there's that chunk play for the Irish. And they are still alive, 56 yards.
And they snuck him out of the backfield, and the defensive backs from Clemson just completely lost him. They had their eyes in the backfield. They didn't feel him sliding out of the backfield at all. I think they were so concerned about Will Fuller and the other receivers that he just got lost. And Travis Blanks, number 11, tried to catch up with him, but just he got behind him.
See if he did stay in bounds. He tight-roped down the sidelines.
Or a touchdown. That play is under further review.
Did not see him touch the sideline. It was very close right after he made the catch.
This will be a great look.
No, I think he stayed in.
I don't know. I don't think the heel went down. If the heel would have gone down, he would have been out of bounds. But his heel looks like it's up.
Dave, will ask your opinion what Joe Ryder is going to decide here.
That's a touchdown.
I just don't think that's enough, because the heel doesn't go down, Kirk, as you've seen. That is not enough to reverse this play. This should be a touchdown.
So Procise, Kirk, has been held to 50 yards in his 15 carries as a runner. Now has 3 catches for 84. And that touchdown pending the review here.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
It's the 8th touchdown this year for the Irish of more than 50 yards. That's more than they've had in any season going back to 02.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And Brian Kelly said it's not by an accident. Remember, they're 21-3. We're talking at the break. You need a touchdown, an extra point, or a touchdown 2-point conversion, and then a field goal to try to tie this up. And we wondered if they scored, would they go for 2 right away, or wait? They have to go for 2 on one of them. He's electing to go for 2 now. That way, if they miss it, he knows he just needs 2 touchdowns. Oh, timeout. Oh,
timeout.
Boy.
Notre Dame.
So they have to spend a timeout. That is not what you want to do when you're trying to climb out of a hole here.
Crushing. Let's go back to the touchdown here. And Procise is right here, and you're going to see one receiver go here, another receiver go here, and that's what really occupies the defense. You also have a safety right here, Green, who's tied up. I think he might have been the one that had to be responsible for Procise, but look at the eyes in the backfield right here. Nobody really keeping an eye on Procise sneaking down the sideline, and then by the time they react, he's got the speed after making the catch to be able to get into the end zone. But they just simply lost him. Too much focus on the receivers.
Let's see what Kelly cooks up after that nice little play. You check about how smart Venables is. Kelly kind of tricked him that time.
Well, yeah, exactly. But on that two-point conversion, you wasted timeout. It looked like they had 10 players out there. I think he was waiting on Corey Robinson to be out there.
Procise to the right of the quarterback, and Robinson goes in motion. Kaiser looks that way, throws it to the tall guy who can't get it. Robinson is 6'5", and that went off his hands again.
And he put it exactly where the big man could go up and climb the ladder and make the catch. He just wasn't able to hold on to it.
We're close. Lay low till we get there.
Lay low. Irish score in the big play, but not a real good sequence for Corey Robinson. Kirky pointed out he wasn't on the field. He had to spend a timeout, and then a very catchable pass.
Yeah, I mean, that's big to be able to get this game within 10 points. And I think Brian Kelly not only upset about the drop, I think it has more to do with having to burn a timeout on a two-point conversion in a game where you're trying to play catch-up. You need all three of those timeouts.
Newsome boots it. Fuller and Green are back. And this is Scott taking it across the 30-yard line. Is our Pacific Life game summary, Kirk, with the quarterbacks?
Yeah, definitely. You got to look at what Deshaun Watson has done, and the numbers aren't going to blow you away, but I think he's just made the plays that he's needed to make at crucial moments, and the 3 touchdowns. And for Kaiser, a young guy who is literally learning with every single rep that he takes against a very aggressive Clemson defense, but give him credit for hanging in there. The guy is battling tonight against a defense, as I said, is kind of have the Notre Dame's offense's number for most of the night.
And Watson back out there off his 4th interception of the season, throws it near side, and the catch is made by Ray McLeod, and the freshman out across the 40 is near the marker.
Ray McLeod is going to become the next great one, you would think. A true freshman out of the Tampa area. He, along with Artavius Scott. Think about Artavius Scott, Clearwater. Ray McLeod is Tampa.
Kane from Tampa.
Kane from Tampa. And who opened the door? Sammy Watkins from Fort Myers.
They try Gallman. He cuts back inside, breaks the tackle. Gallman, the midfield. And finally chased down inside the 25-yard line. Max Redfield saved the touchdown, but Gallman gets loose for his biggest run of the night.
Giving up big plays, that theme kind of continues. Just some poor tackling, great effort here by Gallman, but boy, Kamari Russell's got to be able to make that play. He was right there and just kind of got his hands on him, but didn't secure the tackle.
And all of a sudden, Kirk, after that 33-yard run, Gallman's closing in on 100 yards. He's got it again. Cannot get the edge. His run down there by Shoemate for a loss.
This defense, it's been on the field a lot. It's been tested. It's really surprised me, to be honest with you, to see this defense give up some plays in the trenches. I mean, they have coming in, I think they had a great deal of confidence in how they matched up. But there have been times where we've seen, even in the second half, that offensive line has kind of asserted themselves, and they're not in a hurry at all as they work that clock.
C.J. Fuller is the freshman back in the game now. We got 3 running backs who go by C.J. in this game. Davidson, Fuller, and of course Procise, in a place where C.J. Spiller may be one of the great Clemson players ever.
Dabo's thinking of C.J. Spiller. If he's that good, we got to find a few more.
Give me every guy named C.J. who's a running back. Well,
yeah.
It's 3rd and 10 now. Tigers have been a little bit more efficient tonight on 3rd down. 5 for 11. Clemson staff trying to get their attention here.
They sure are.
Play clock's at 5, and now they'll spend a timeout. coaching staff spotted something on the other side, Kirk, and wanted Watson to notice it.
Yeah. They're actually trying to get there's certain coverage that they saw that they wanted him to go to that play, and he was just a little bit confused, so he called the timeout.
Saturday Night Football, presented by Wells Fargo. Brought to you by Pacific Life. For life insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. Ford, we go further so you can. And Jiffy Lube, experts around every corner to help you leave worry behind.
A lot of folks having fun with the rain here in Clemson. Of course, many folks in this state and other states in the Atlantic Seaboard are seriously affected by the flooding. The rain really doesn't have a lot to do with Hurricane Joaquin. It's just a combination of rivers running high and tide coming in. This is Watson now, a safe play in the rain. He keeps it, makes a nice game.
I was just going to say, you're up by 12, and it's not just about converting and getting a first down. It's about trying to give yourself a chance at a field goal to go up by 15 points. You go up by 15 points, and now Notre Dame, it's a two-possession game. They've got to, again, score the touchdown, get a two-point conversion, and then score another touchdown. So it makes a lot of sense what Dabo Swinney did there, just running around the left side. Clearly, this kicker likes it from the left hash, and see if he can convert to give them the 15-point lead.
35-yarder for the walk-on Greg Hugel, who is 4 of 5 this season. First attempt. They got to hurry. Unless they want to spend a timeout, it's going to mac 5 yards. They did notice it on the sidelines. A full sprint for Swinney down there to spend the timeout. Feels a lot better about the field goal at this range than 5 yards back.
Okay.
Good wheels by the coach.
Well, he's going back to his playing days. Had to turn the jets on there. I think the crowd may have helped.
I don't know if he enjoyed the exercise on a rainy night that much, judging from the expression.
I think Frank Kelly thought that the clock expired before he got that timeout.
And you dialed into the new Sunday night drama on ABC, Quantico. Critics calling it instantly addictive. Begins 10 o'clock tomorrow night, 9 Central on ABC. So Hugel will kick into the wind. It really shouldn't be a big factor on a field goal in this range. Going to be just about a 35-yarder. Trying to build that lead back up to 15. Seth Ryan is the holder on a wet night. Does a good job to get it down, and Hugel knocks it through. So 10:56 to play, and the Tigers are back up by 15.
All right, listen up. We all know that direct
Updates: so number 6 losing, number 3 Ole Miss lost, and number 7 UCLA in serious trouble. And then Kalen Boulage gets a lot of help from his friends to pretty much seal it. UCLA loses 38-23 to Arizona State.
Cassidy, thank you. That Bruins team, Kirk, was so impressive in hammering errors on the road last week. But we knew it was going to be tough in the Pac-12 to go through unscathed. And they dropped for the first time.
We're looking around in these first 4 or 5 weeks. And Malik and I were just talking there at the break about, I think he said it was 07. It's going to be one of those years, even with a loss, you're not out of it. No. Teams are going to lose.
It's a short kick, very short kick into the wind, fielded. And the Irish are going to have decent field position now to the 36-yard line as Doug Randolph, big defensive lineman, got his hands on the football. Well, we knew that it was going to be a situation which quarterback, which receivers could handle the wet conditions. Fuller with a drop that would have been a first down at midfield. Robinson, a would-be touchdown. And again, a would-be two-point conversion. It's been Clemson's receivers. They haven't been perfect, but they've been a little more sure-handed.
And now with 10:52 remaining in his football game, it's not just about trying to put points on the board. You're at 15 points, so you need to be able to execute, put points on the board, and then you got to get the defense back out and try to get a stop. If you're Notre Dame, Clemson obviously trying to get a 3-and-out.
Kaiser has good protection, steps free, now decides to take off. And the big fella loses the ball. bouncing around. The Irish have recovered. It was Procise right there. A very fortunate hop as Wilkins forced the quarterback's fumble. Heather?
Chris, you guys are talking about conditions. Well, Clemson's defensive end, Shaq Lawson, just switched out shoes. As you see this fumble going on, guys, he actually went from a molded cleat to a half-inch screw-in, doing everything in his power to get better footing, better leverage on this very sloppy night.
Heather, thank you. Heather reported earlier that Lawson left to have a sleeve put on his knee. Kaiser has time, flips it off again, and it's a wide open Chris Brown. And the Irish are beginning to find some space in the secondary. Brown runs through a couple tackles and finally out of bounds. Blanks forced him out, but they're inside the 15.
You're gonna see a crisscross here from Notre Dame wide receivers, and Bullware 10 is gonna get caught up in some traffic, and there's Brown clearing underneath. Good job again. He needs time for these plays to develop, but how about Chris Brown after the catch, getting some blocks downfield by Fuller and picks up huge yards.
He got 33. Exactly what Notre Dame needed, trying to strike quickly here. Procise came out of the backfield. Kaiser looked that way. Now dances free. It's inside the 10. Cuts back inside the 5. It'll be 2nd and a yard. Irish knocking on the door again.
Now you're starting to sense some urgency from Kaiser. You ever seen a guy that hasn't played a lot of football at this level in this kind of atmosphere have such composure in the pocket? There's Blanks. Blanks has been kind of just been hobbled here in the second half. And, of course, he's had 2 ACL surgeries on the same knee over the last few years.
Yeah, he works so hard to get back. He's a very respected, smart member of this Clemson defense.
He takes off to run. Watch Amir Carlisle get involved 3 right there. That's the guy who right now Blanks, who's down.
And a teammate hit him after he went down.
Yeah. And he's already kind of been, looks like he's been struggling when he was chasing earlier on that touchdown by Procise. It looked like he was really laboring.
They don't really rotate a lot of guys in on this Clemson defense. They asked their starters to play a lot of snaps. Are they wearing down? Procise shifts over on 2nd and 1. Keeper. Kaiser. Touchdown. And the Irish are coming back.
We just said you not only need to score, but you need to score in a hurry. How about a minute 49? To put a touchdown up on the board, and instead of going for 2 now, they're going to go for 7, or try to get it. Try to go for the extra point for 7 points now, and wait to get the 2-pointer if they get the football back.
Yeah, this would cut it to an 8-point margin if they can convert here. But you're right, 4 plays, 64 yards, a minute 49.
So they needed.
Brown's catch was the big play in the drive, and Kaiser a strong runner. And remember, he's been the comeback kid against Virginia on the road. And he said, guys, we've been here before. He just keep these guys in it.
Just really impressed with what he's done. Not a great night, but he's hung tough, and he's given his team a chance to come back in this game.
Irish were down 21-3 entering the quarter, but Kaiser has let him do a couple touchdown drives.
Yeah, and again, his numbers aren't going to blow you away when you pick up the box score tomorrow, but what's going to impress you if you watch this game is how he's just kind of hung tough. They've not been able to run the football. They put him in some tough positions. I just can't get over how he sits in the pocket and how much time he has and how he doesn't panic.
Scott, a yard deep. And the Irish coverage team had him corralled, but Artavis Scott breaks free now. Chased out of bounds by the kicker at the 45-yard line. The slippery receiver, also a dangerous returner in Clemson, has nice field position as they protect now an 8-point lead in the final 9 minutes.
Greer Martini does a good job of getting down there. He just can't come up with the tackle. And I think a lot of the Notre Dame kickoff coverage team thought he was already down. Then he picks up about another 25 or 30 yards and throws in a little stiff arm at the end there.
Newsom is the punter and the kickoff guy. Good job to get Scott out of bounds. So now it's Watson at the 44. And all of a sudden it's a tight game, and Gallman hammered hard, spins forward, and if you're the play callers, Jeff Scott, Tony Elliott, what do you do now with your lead down 8 all of a sudden?
I think you go right to number 4 and you put the ball into his hands and you say, all right, earlier in this game when we've had some success, it was him throwing the football and also the quarterback run game. And I just think this guy is, you like to think that Clemson coaches feel he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the country. You definitely want him to be able to make the decisions. And he's also working clock along with trying to pick up first downs.
Yeah, for once Clemson not playing at hyperspeed, really working the play clock down to 7. Gallman, a second carry, but nothing there against the Irish front. It was big Isaac Rochelle, and it's 3rd and long.
One thing I think you have to be careful of with still 8 minutes to go is getting a little bit out of character. You know, you start to change your tempo and you start to change the mentality of this. The offense is used to cranking. They're used to having that kind of go mentality. And with 8 minutes to go, I don't know. It's a little bit. There's still enough time, but I don't think you need to really work the game clock that much.
Todd comes in motion. Watson hands, flips it short. Catch made, but hit immediately. Elijah Shoemate knocked down. Leg at the tight end, and Clemson going to have to give up the football now.
Yeah, Shoemate made a great read. And it looked like Watson felt that Leggett was going to slip out and nobody was going to pick him up. You could see at the top of the screen the entire time Elijah Shoemate has been seeing that counter boot one too many times. They scored a touchdown on this play earlier. This time Shoemate is right there as soon as he makes that catch.
And clearly down before the fumble came out. So Teasdall to punt it. And Will Fuller, the Irish top playmaker who's been held largely in check tonight. Chance to make the play as a returner. Fuller just lets it bounce. Seems like that's been the instruction to the returners. Don't even try to field it. Let it hit the ground.
Get out of the
way. Well, the Allstate Saturday Night Football bus provided shelter for us today. Watching all the games, the Allstate It's Good sweepstakes, a chance to win $100,000 plus a VIP trip to the Allstate Sugar Bowl and the national championship game, as well as prizes. So this Notre Dame team, Kirk, with the awful weather, down 21-3, entering the final quarter, has found a way to make a couple of chunk plays, and they've got a chance now, potential game-tying drive.
We knew they needed to have those chunk plays, and it's been the passing game that's opened up some things for them. And now Brian Kelly can just execute his offense with 6:41 to go here. They still want to have some urgency to him.
Kaiser has Procise out of the backfield, didn't see him, and throws a pick. B.J. Goodson, the linebacker, makes a huge interception and a tough decision from the young quarterback.
Yeah. And when he goes back and looks at that, he just never even saw C.J. Procise, who from up here it's easy to see, but in reality, he's a check down. Procise will slide out over here, and he's wide open, but he ends up just forcing this football, and I don't think he gave Woodson much of a chance, or Goodson, that he thought he could make this play, and he shows some pretty good closing speed. But he'll go back and look at that, and instead of forcing it, he just wants to check that down to his running back, C.J. Procise.
Goodson, one of those big, strong linebackers. He benches 480. He's a tough customer against the run, makes a big interception, and now Clemson gets the ball back and again just hands it to Gallman straight ahead.
You know how Clemson defensively most of this game has been kind of pinning in their ears and shooting gaps against Notre Dame when they've tried to run the ball. Well, right now Notre Dame and Brian Van Gorder, they've got to take some chances against this running game.
Artavis Scott, Steve Van Gorder there, limped off a few plays ago, but he's back in the game now. He's at the bottom of the formation. See if they have Watson throw the ball here on 2nd and 11. Inside of 6 minutes. Keeps it. Gets a crease. Watson takes a hit, slammed down 2 yards short of the marker. It'll be 3rd and 2.
You know, because they've been able to get Wayne Gallman going, now when he carries out a fake, he's had 2 or 3 defenders chasing him down. This is when you really have something going. There's 2 guys that are just completely gone. In fact, he got tackled. He got hammered, and it opens up some room there for Deshaun Watson to run the football.
Deshaun took a hard hit himself at the end of that play. It's Gallman to the right of the quarterback on 3rd down. Now motions out. Watson running all the way, but running right into traffic. Drop for a loss. The Irish were all over that keeper that time. He loses a yard, and it's 4th down.
A slow developing play. He's waiting for his left guard, 78, to pull around McLean. Watch how slow it develops. He's waiting and waiting and waiting. Rochelle does a nice job of just kind of fighting the point of attack. There's just nowhere to go. You can see they're able to keep contained. Owalu as well. There's just nowhere to go for Watson.
Schmidt and Smith, the 2 linebackers, converging on the tackle. So 4th and 3. This would be a pretty difficult field goal. It's into the wind. There's a crosswind. He made it earlier from 35, but this for Hugel is from 45 to make it an 11-point game. A low boot, and it hooks. Missed it. So the interception doesn't produce points, and the Irish still down only 8. That's a tough kick for kicker there. You know, at 45 yards, the wind is kind of swirling. It's wet. It would have, in effect, maybe put the game away, but not able to convert it.
No, and as you said, they have the turnover there. They had a big opportunity there to maybe put this game out of reach, but Notre Dame catches a break. They get the ball back to Kaiser. And they've scored in their last 2 possessions in 1:52 and 1:48 when they have scored.
Empty backfield. Kaiser pressured. Dropped. Carlos Watkins joined by Christian Wilkins, the freshman.
Well, you have Watkins in there, but look at the entire defensive front 4. Shaq Lawson to the bottom there, 90s also involved. The true freshman Wilkins. They had an entire group there. There's closing in on him. Nowhere for him to try to pick up some time.
He lost 9 yards. 2nd and long. Kaiser flips it short. Brown has running room. And Chris Brown's loose. Tripped up, but into Clemson territory.
Boy, how about the speed of Chris Brown on these crossing routes? He's catching the football. It's the exact same route he ran earlier. Picks up a little bit of a rub, and then now he's just leaving people behind him. There's no way Kevin Dodd can catch him in the open field. But how about Tankersley, the corner who's with him? He also gets left. Some serious wheels there by Brown.
Procise in the slot in this empty set. They bring pressure. Kaiser picks it up again, flips it short. And Hunter makes the catch to the 35, another 1st down.
See, with receivers going downfield, that underneath game in their passing game is open because you've got some linebackers that are shooting gaps. Goodson that time and Boulware both came. And if you're not going to get home, you're going to leave a vacancy underneath. Good job of finding it and then just dumping it down for that 1st down.
38 years ago, Joe Montana came in here and engineered a 4th quarter comeback against Clemson. Deshaun Kaiser trying to do the same thing. Robinson's in motion. Fuller has the catch on the edge and has some blocks, and he's loose. Fuller swerving to the secondary down to the 11.
When was the last time you watched Notre Dame football with this kind of speed on the perimeter with Chris Brown and Will Fuller both? I mean, you talk about yards after the catch. I'd love to look at that number in the second half alone tonight for Notre Dame.
23 yards as Fuller finally makes an impact, and the Irish now 2.5 to play. 12 yards from a potential game-tying touchdown. They'd need the 2-point conversion, of course. Lob to the end zone. Broken up over there. That was Tankersley knocking the ball out of Brown's hands. He's a quarter that's often picked on because Alexander's so good, but he makes the play there.
Yeah, he wants to be able to get this football thrown a little bit further into the corner. That's what the fans from the Notre Dame fans are upset about. Look at that, grabbed onto the jersey. Yeah. I mean, how are you supposed to go up there and make a play when he's grabbing a jersey and pulling him down? By the way, he had Nick Wisher underneath all alone. Those underneath routes are open, even down deep in Clemson territory.
He flat out missed that interference call. Kaiser looks left, dumps it short, catch made, and taking a shot, losing the ball. Clemson's got it. Chris Brown had the ball, was headed toward the end zone for a potential game-tying touchdown, and it was knocked free. Goodson, who had the pick earlier, made the recovery, Kirk.
Yeah, it looked like Curse got his hand on the football and knocked it loose, Chris, and Goodson gets on top of it. We just said the underneath routes are open. Watch how open they are. It just clears out. It's a great read. Brown's there. Brown's been dangerous after the catch. It's not that hit. It's right there. The left hand of one, Curse, gets in there. There's the initial hit. Then the left hand jars the ball loose. And then the middle linebacker, B.J. Goodson, jumps right on top of it.
It is the fourth Notre Dame turnover, all of them in the second half. So they've been able to make some big plays, but self-destruction for Notre Dame, and that's a tough one after getting that close to potentially touchdown on a two-pointer to tie it.
Still 2 timeouts remaining for Notre Dame.
Got to stop Gallman and get the ball back, and Brian Kelly knows it's tough with a wet ball, but it's his reaction after the fumble.
Well, it's been one of those nights with self-destructing, but this game is far from over. I mean, Clemson's probably a first down away from being able to ice this, but Brian Kelly electing not to use the timeout that they lost when they had to use the 2-point conversion for the timeout with only 10 men on the field. He decides to let the clock run here. Then they're going to try to get stops on 2nd and 3rd down with the timeouts to try to get the football back around midfield.
And Watson working the play clock. Snaps it at 4. Gives it to Gallman. Hit hard. Boy, you worry about a fumble almost every time as the Irish make the stop and then do spend that second timeout with 1:19 to go. And 3rd down coming up for Watson. Eastern time on ESPN, streaming live on the Watch ESPN app.
Clemson got to think they run the football to force Notre Dame to use that last timeout. The Irish are thinking stop them, use the last timeout, force the punt, get the ball in about midfield, maybe your own 45 with about a minute to go. Still time to do what they need to do.
On 3rd and 6, a very safe play as Watson keeps it but does not get much. Unwallow, the linebacker, stopped him, and now they'll spend that final timeout with 1:13. Punt coming up.
Yeah, you get
into the wind, by the way.
Brian Kelly's been thinking the same thing that you and I are talking about. He decided to let that first down play go, called it on called the timeout on 2nd and 3rd down. They're going to get the ball with a minute to go without any timeouts, and the way they've been throwing the football, they've got to feel pretty confident that they can execute if they can take care of the football. It may come down to a 2-point conversion.
Sweeney and Scott and Elliott electing to call safe plays, keep it on the ground on a rainy night into the wind, and then trust their defense to try to protect this lead. But Kaiser's been making plays. They just making too many mistakes.
No doubt. He's thrown now for 284 yards on the night.
Indy Teasdall in his end zone. And Fuller is set up at the 45. He'll have a play in it. Takes it at the 41. Fuller down to the 32-yard line, and Kaiser and company set up perfectly. 1:05. No timeouts, but a lot shorter drive than they had when they were down at Virginia.
And give this Notre Dame defense a lot of credit for hanging in there and doing what they've needed to do to get the ball back to Notre Dame. And now if you're Clemson and you're Brent Venables, don't you think you got to be thinking to yourself, you know what, that underneath crossing routes, it's been wide open. We've been blitzing some linebackers. We've been getting lost a little bit in coverage. It's not just a long throw downfield. It's the underneath route that they've got to, I think, be concerned about.
Best starting field position for the Irish. Snapped it at 1. Lost the ball. Just came out of his hand.
Okay, remember, no timeouts. He's got to have some urgency here. They work on this. He doesn't have a ton of experience in this other than the Virginia game, but he's got to crank. This is where you really got to have some intensity.
Inside of 50 seconds, they lost about 6 yards there. Kaiser steps up. Flips it short, incomplete, out of Brown's hands.
That actually is the best thing that could have happened to Notre Dame, because if he caught that football, then he's tackled in bounds, and they don't pick very many yards up, and the clock just keeps going and going. Clemson doing a good job right now. They've got 8 guys in coverage, and they're trying to keep Notre Dame in bounds. They want that clock to just keep going.
2 plays to get 16 yards and keep hope alive.
Kaiser cannot take a sack. He's got to be aware of that. He's got to throw it away if he feels pressure.
They bring some pressure. Fires, far side, sliding play, catch made. Carlisle's got a first down in the red zone.
How about that? They bring that pressure. It's right in his face, and he knows if he takes the sack, the game could be over. He stands in there, he gets the time, and he throws it. Now they're going to fire it to kill the clock.
25 seconds to go. Kelly decisive and asking his quarterback to clock it. Here's the catch.
Gets his hands underneath. Gets the legs involved, whatever it takes to hold on to that football. But I couldn't believe the way he just sat in that pocket and waited for Carlisle to break free. Didn't panic. It's one thing to make the throw. It's another thing not to panic.
Does it remind you of a Notre Dame game on the road against the ACC a year ago? A long third down conversion.
We were there.
For Florida State. Kaiser flips it near side. Procise breaks the tackle. Gets down to the 2.
Clock stops with the first down. A missed tackle there by Clemson. They had him inbounds and short of the first down. They were not able to pull him down. How about the strength there of Procise?
Well, Clemson wasn't even set. They were trying to clock the ball, but the chains really weren't even set up yet. And so a flag comes in.
Clemson has 12 defenders on the field.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's not good.
You're kind of torn, I guess, as a coordinator, Kirk. You're trying to get your short yardage package down there from the 2-yard line.
Right.
Illegal substitution. Defense. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
What do? Do you dare run the ball with no timeouts if you get stopped short?
I don't think you can. I think you've got to trust the quarterback. He has had the football in his hands. He's made good decisions. And if all else fails, he also has a big body, and he can go for that goal line and try to use his legs for a touchdown.
Any play tackled in bounds is serious trouble, though.
Game's over if you're tackled in bounds.
Kaiser loops it for the end zone. Touchdown! Torrey Hunter Jr. with 7 seconds to play. The Irish are a 2-point conversion away from overtime.
Chris, you mentioned last year's Florida State Notre Dame game. How about this? How about this right here? Perfectly executed to open it up. Exactly the same situation, the same side of the field, but this time Will Fuller, give him credit. He looks into the quarterback instead of looking at the defensive back. Perfectly executed by Notre Dame. Ironic, a year later, the exact same corner of an end zone with a game on the line.
They still need 3 more yards to force OT. Kaiser rolls, runs into traffic, and comes up a yard short. Boulware, Watkins, and the Clemson defense rises up to hold off a furious Notre Dame rally.
Interesting call by Brian Kelly, relying on the feet and the legs of Kaiser. This is all about the defensive line of Clemson. Watch Dodd and watch Watkins work here, and then you have the safeties and linebackers come in and help out. But a great job up front I mean, Kevin Dodd, 98, would not. Look at the extension there against the tight end, Wisher. He just throws him back into the quarterback. Bullware's involved. You saw Blanks get in there.
And, of course, you saw Kelly's disappointment, Watson's relief. You know, the decision by Kelly to go for 2 early in the 4th quarter and to get that first touchdown will be questioned now the way things eventually worked out.
No doubt about that. And now you go to the last second here. With 7 seconds left, you had an unsportsmanlike penalty here on Clemson. So Notre Dame is going to be kicking from midfield for this onside kick. And if they, it's a slippery field, it's wet. If you kick this and you somehow recover it, at least it gives you a chance at either a Hail Mary or a really long field goal.
Well, Cassidy Hubbard will be along in the studio with the Ford wrap-up show right after the game. We have reaction to this one. Early in this quarter, Clemson rolling. Up 21. They thought we can think about heading home early on a rainy night. The Irish made him play right down to the end. But just like the game we referenced a year ago in Tallahassee, it looks like a Notre Dame perfect season is going to come to an end with a close call on the road in a tough environment against an ACC team.
Well, let's see how this onside kick goes.
And this is the freshman kicker, Justin Yoon. They practice this all the time, trying to get that perfect hop. And it does not get the kangaroo hop and is fielded by the Tigers, who are going to take a knee with a hard-earned 2-point victory in Death Valley, their 12th straight home win. That is a very relieved head coach.
He's emotional right now. It's a big win for his program. Think about this in the last 3 years. This Clemson program is now 36-7 with wins over LSU, Auburn, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Notre Dame. He has taken this program to a whole different level, and so what you saw there was not just relief, but just he is so darn proud of his program and what they built here.
Yeah, forget the stats. Clemson is outgained big time. Notre Dame mistakes crucial for second half turnovers, but they played with a ton of heart and resilience on the road. Kaiser, who helped lead that comeback, coming up 1 yard short on that 2-point conversion carry.
Yeah, that's really what you need to take away from this game. It's a huge win for Clemson early in the year at home against a good Notre Dame football team. But Notre Dame, with Kaiser at quarterback on the road in these conditions, down big, looking like they didn't have any chance at all. They had 4 turnovers.